by all accounts, it says that I'm live. If I say. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? I've got them. Welcome. We'll get into some parish notes before we start the live properly. Just thought I'd start a little early this evening. I'm just reading some of the nonsense in this morning's newspapers. Absolute, utter nonsense. Evening. Yeah. Wrong one. Let me just get everything up. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Right. Oh, look at that. So many comments, must get into them. Oh, Sandra Wytham, I'm so happy that you're first. Hello, Adrian. Evening, Sandra. Yeah, wrong. Looks like we may be meeting your lot at Wembley. Sandra, don't, because Coventry's not an easy side. And, well, for those that follow footy, the beautiful game. Hang on a second. What's going on there? Ah, that's why. Friday night, Sunderland versus Coventry was as much a surprise to me as it was to everybody else, to be fair. Let me just move across here. I've got a story to tell you because my chair's not working. I'll tell you in a little while. But Sandra, I saw you 3-0. I mean, for goodness sake, woman, you could have given them half a chance. They're only little Bristol City. So you'll spank them on Monday, and it's Sunderland against Coventry City on Tuesday. But you do know that there's just a bit of needle between Coventry City and us, don't you? Do you know the story? Oh, chinny chin chin chin. Yeah, Jimmy Hill. Back in, was it 77? Still to this day, I mean, that's, 77 would be 23 years, nearly 50 years ago, and still the Sunderland supporters are not happy with Jimmy Hill. So basically what was happening was, it was the old First Division, and if Coventry drew or won at Bristol City, then Sunderland and Middlesbrough would be relegated into the old Second Division, the now Championship. And somehow the chief exec, managing director, Jimmy Chinny Chin 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 Hill, so glad he's dead, couldn't happen to a nicer person. As far as a Sunderland supporter is concerned, I'm only telling you the story. He somehow managed to get the Coventry versus Bristol City match delayed by 10 minutes. And what happened when the Sunderland match and the Borough match and all the other matches had finished? Coventry versus Bristol City were drawing 2-2. And it ended in the last 10 minutes where Bristol City were just kicking the ball about and not really making any effort. And Coventry City didn't get a kick of the ball and made no effort, absolutely no effort to go and chase the ball. And Bristol City kept the ball in their own half. And the FA, I think, fined both clubs and had an investigation and found that Coventry City and Bristol City had, for want of a better term, brought the game into disrepute. So they fined both clubs. Didn't help Sunderland and Middlesbrough, who were relegated down to the current championship from what would have been the Premiership at the time. 1977. I mean, Jimmy Hill gave all the usual bullshit. But I wouldn't say that footy is footy, but cheating is cheating, in my view. And getting your match delayed by 10 minutes and then just knocking it about. Not happening. So, don't tempt fate, Sandra, because as a Sunderland supporter, I know it could go any which way on Tuesday. But we kind of 5 defeats on the bounce. And everybody was laughing at us, including me. I didn't believe that we were going to do it. But the way we played was just breathtaking. Defending like Colossus, 11 of them on the pitch. And then Wilson, Isidore and Miunda, worldies. Goals that were worldies. I mean, we only had 27% of the possession. They had all of it. So it was just a hell of a game on Friday night. Don't know whether you saw it, Sandra. Hell of a game. And well, let's see how Monday and Tuesday roll out. You're definitely through. But as I say, Sandra, if we get through, I'll see you at Wembley Way. I'm not suggesting Sunderland will get through. I'm suggesting that Sheffield are going to be very tough to beat. And there's every chance you could end up in the Premiership next season. So, so glad that you're first in the comments this evening. Lovely to see you in the body of the Kirk, as ever, Sandra. Stuart says, evening, Rev. We're all in for a treat tonight. Oh, I say, you and Sister Mary are due to be on stage at 9 to do the dance scene from Pulp Fiction. I'm going to be John Travolta. We're all counting on you to take the scene to a whole new level. I'm keeping my clothes on, Stuart. I don't want to be defrocked. Well, by Sister Mary. Napoleon blown apart. Well, I'm not the last in line for the pews this evening. I'm going to sneak up into the balcony. Oh, I say, going up in the world, Napoleon blown apart. Up into the balcony pews to have a good view of the top of the Rev's head. I left extra Battenberg by the door. Thank you. Extra Battenberg is always gratefully received, Napoleon blown apart. Paulie Galtieri. Hey up, Adrian. Yeah, utter wrongin'. Hey up, Paulie. Yeah, even utterer wrongin'. The Bovril evening, you wrongins, as the sun sets above the yard arm. Can you see the sun setting against the backdrop? How beautiful is that? That spring-like light, or is it summer now? It is British summertime, technically. Andrew James, I love to see the Rev dance in a leotard. Yeah, pervert, Andrew. Andy B, evening all. We all get earlier and earlier. I'll be kicking off at 9 o'clock in the morning soon. Tom Harney's, hi everyone. The hills are alive with the sound of Battenberg scoffing. Should be a good one tonight. I'm hoping so. I'm just reading through, 2 pages out of the Daily Mail has given me at least 3 hours worth of material. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, Tom and Andy B and Andrew James and the Bovril and Paulie Galtieri. It's always good to see some regulars. It's the Battenberg that keeps you regular, seemingly. And also, I'm making my own gags up. It's making me laugh. And also, who can I say? I did that. Sorry, I am having a complete discussion in my own head, talking to myself and answering back. Sign of madness. Des Ashton, good evening, early birds. Are we ready for some exciting parish notes? Well, I've just given you a story about footy. Nothing more exciting. Cheers, Des. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, as with Phil Levan and Manda Sky, Neil Cunningham, Matthew Whedon, Kathy Harper, and Peter Sadler. Evening, Adrian and chat. Evening, Peter and all. Thank you for being in the body of the Kirk this evening. Yes, we did start a little early. Wow. So parish notes over. Shall we? Shall we? I think we should. I'm looking at. We are going to talk about this evening, but there's. Let me just see if the camera is round the wrong way. Hang on. Is it round the wrong way? Let me. Yeah, it's round the wrong way. It's all bollocks. So seemingly, Borjo the clown, he's going to save the Tories, because the Tories are, well, not only are they self-destructing, they're literally not a political party anymore. We're not going to just talk politics this evening. I will just let me get into my notes. The welcome for this evening. The next live is this coming Wednesday, of course. Now next Sunday, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I might be late, or I might do the live whilst in motor car, because I'm going on a course for the weekend, starting Thursday to Sunday. Finishes about 4 o'clock. Let's hope I can do me prep and get back in time, of course, because where I'm going, there's no bloody reception for phones. Dear Lord. Oi, oi, oi. Thanks for the Jaeger bombs, Stuart. Always appreciate them. They always help the lives go with a little swing. To Mad Matt UK and Soul Rebel and Alison. Hello. And Les Griffiths, of course. Cuban Pete and Stuff. And Les, quite rightly, is saying no guffing in church. It's not, it's bad enough trying to keep the choir boys in check. But Sister Mary, fresh back from Rome, she did say that all the cardinals didn't behave themselves. Well, they wouldn't, would they? And we've got a new pope. We've got a pope on a rope. We've got Pope Bob. Known to his mates as Pope Leo, the lion. He didn't have a heart in Alice in Wonderland. Not Alice in Wonderland, bloody hell. Friends of Dorothy's. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Which is, it's quite apposite if I could use that word. Burlington Bertie, oh, good to see you back in the body of the Kirk, Burlington Bertie, and Martin P. No snorting cocaine in front of press. No, Martin, no. We are going to talk about that. That's why Sir Keir Starmer will always be known in this body of the Kirk as Charlie Starmer. I've no idea why. It just seems quite appropriate. If you don't know, there is a video doing the rounds on social media. Now, we have checked it out, and it looks like it's a deep fake. It's an 87% deep fake. Thank you to the Scarlet Pimpernel who did the research. But it's, well, Sir Keir Starmer, Macron, I'm not quite sure whether it's Mr. or Mrs. Macron, but it's one of the Macrons, in a room where they, and Merck, that's not short for Mercedes, that's Merck with a CK, the Chancellor of Germany. They came back into a room where all the paps were, and, well, they were laughing and a little bit lively, shall we say. And people were saying, why is Charlie Starmer a little lively? I mean, he still looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights. I am going to talk about him quite extensively this evening because I'm going to give him a, well, what can I say? If we're doing boxing, I'd be giving him a battering in the ring. Might enjoy that. Well, I've seen him box. Have you not seen the video? Well, his boxing skills up against my boxing skills, he's definitely taken a battering in the ring. You might need Lord Ali as his second in his corner. Oh, come on, Keir. Come on, Keir. He's just a fat ginger lad from the northeast. He's from Sunderland, man. You can do this. You can do this. You've got the whole country behind you. That's the problem. He enjoys having the country behind him. And I'm just giving him a batter in the ring. Lovely. So we're going to talk about that idiot. We're going to talk about Labour are proper in the doo-doo. They're proper in the doo-doo. I mean, it is a great time to be alive. Not necessarily, and I have said this to you before, it's not a way of us just trying to wake other sheeple up. Forget them. Forget them. They're done and dusted. We're not only awake, but we are aligned. I've said to you before, I don't mind this channel not being an echo chamber, because I'm happy to come on and people to debate, because there's nothing better than a mass debate, according to the Cardinals, and in the Sistine Chapel, can you imagine? I was told minutes before the white smoke came out that they just knocked one out. Not quite sure what they meant by that. Anyway. So we're going to talk about Labour being in the doo-doo, proper in the doo-doo. And we're going to talk about the system. Southport killer in the system. So we've got a couple of questions that I would love to hear your take on it. But do we go for the Labour Party shite? Technical term, obviously, that we use in YouTube hosting and radio. But if you look at the newspapers, the reportage, the mainstream media, the bollocks peddlers, they literally, all they want to do is have you buy their newspapers, because they don't care what they put in there. They just want you to buy it. Think, oh, that looks interesting, I'll buy that. So the headlines on the front of the Mail on Sunday was, commit any crime and you're out. Migrants to be warned. Forgive me, but am I being a bit thick here? I'll give you it again. And the headline, you're on. Commit any crime and you're out. So hang on a second. If they're arriving as illegal immigrants, illegal means it's against the law. It's illegal. So commit any crime and you're out. Migrants to be warned by this chaotic Labour Party. Well, all I can say is this. They land as illegals. Get them gone. Get them foxtrot Oscared gone. Not here. Not, oh, there you go. There's a telephone and a nice house for you. We'll put you in a hotel for a while, and we'll give you money every week, and we'll give you freebies, and oh, you can have your teeth fixed for now, because we're like that in this country. And is the missus pregnant in Afghanistan? Oh, get her over here. She can have birth on the NHS. We don't care. The English, man, they're too fucking docile. Yeah, just leave them. They're fucking docile until we're not, and then when we're not, you're in the shite, said a spokesperson. So you've got, this is the headline on the front of the Mail on Sunday. And what they tend to do is, it's, look, the way PR works, normally it would be to keep stuff out of, to get stuff into the newspapers and the news cycle and people to comment on whatever's going on. But now it's not only trying to get stuff in, it's making sure that stuff is kept out. So whether you're snorting Charlie on a train from Kiev to somewhere else in Europe, there's, do you know snuff? Not the films, snuff, the stuff that you take up. Seemingly, a sneeze is 1/6 of an orgasm. And somebody said to me, "So what do you take for it, Adrian?" I said, "Snuff." So seemingly, Merck on this train from Kiev, he had in his hand, he had like a little snuff spoon. All right, shall we invade Poland? And that's why they'd been to see Sniffy Zelensky. I'm not quite sure what they'd been there and whether it was a freebie from Sniffy. Lads, man, you're feeling a bit tired. There you go. That'll liven you up. Take it on the train. Keep you going all the way through Europe. What's this marching powder? Exactly. You can invade anywhere. Nobody will care. Darren Bradbury says, but the gays don't like chicken nuggets back home. I know they don't. Sorry, guys. No, gays. I know they don't. But the fact is that Yvette Cooper, who could be the next Prime Minister imminently, because seemingly Charlie Starmer is, he's not for long as Prime Minister. I mean, the rumours are that his missus was unhappy. I mean, have you seen the fizzog on her? Jesus. She's got a face that's sucking on 15 lemons wouldn't shift. She's... I mean, Les Dawson did a pretty good impersonation. She just... I mean, she's a KC. Make your own gags up, because me making them up will get me into trouble. Les Griffith says, 21-year-old uninvited guest batters 2 WPCs and avoids jail as judge claims his brain is still developing. I know that's not a wind-up, Les, but me. Well, they could have got the Parver out. Could have got the truncheon out. And battered the fuck out of him. Self-defence, proportionate and appropriate. I would have done. I'd have Parvered the fecker so he couldn't see me. You know, there are 3 points of immobilisation in ninjutsu: eyes, throat and knees. Why would we do that? If a man can't see you, he can't fight you. If you take his throat out, if a man can't breathe, he can't fight you. And if you take his knees, he can't stand up to fight you. Look, it's not Hollywood fighting. It's fighting for survival. Now, if 2 WPCs have gone in, or police officers, with parva and cuffs and truncheons and stuff, and a 21-year-old has battered 2 police officers, that's, I would suggest that's major league assault. GBH, not ABH. Well, he might have got done by ABH, but the judge claiming that his brain was still developing. I'm sorry, but if I was in a situation, whether it was me or him, I would rather be judged by a jury of 12 than buried in a fight. So they should have battered the fuck out of him. Teach him a lesson. 21-year-old, if his brain's still developing, well, then it would have developed a lesson. And the lesson is, you don't go fighting with cops. Or anybody, for that matter, in today's society. Darren Bradbury, Hinge and Bracket. Cuban Pete, because he's had a hard life. Well, look, we've all grown out of, I don't know, maybe chaos or a youth that wasn't best for us. I mean, well, I could out... everyone's got a story. Except when they go into court. And then they've got 2 or 3 or 4 stories. And their brief will act in their defence. Bless them. So, today's society is just beyond my comprehension. I'm hoping that we have... everyone's got their feet under the table. We're getting towards that magic number. Please smash the likes before we kind of get into what we're going to get into this evening. I want to start with Starmer. because this... I always thought that somebody who was a barrister had to be quite intelligent, or certainly have a retentive memory and be intelligent. And anyone that was the director of public prosecutions had to also have some semblance of intelligence and an ability to use that intelligence. And this man is as thick as pig shit. That's a technical term that we use in radio. Have you seen how thick pig shit is? Mind you, a pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes. Just saying, girls. So Starmer just, well, I see it, and he just keeps marching on and on with the Council of the Willing. Can you imagine if it was the Council of Not the Willing? And I want to know where all the money's going. It's just a question that trips off the tip of my tongue. I don't know why. Having seen the United States Agency for International Development and all the money that they spunk all over the world. So the first question for me, if you've seen this video, the thing is, if it is a deep fake, then it's going to cause problems, because it's been around the internet twice in the last couple of hours. It's everywhere. So if I post it, I'll try and put it in a video. I'll do an intro and an outro, and you can watch it tomorrow. Make your own decision up, mind up. Well, after watching the video, first two questions were: one, what was it that President Macron took off the table? Did you notice? During the photo call, oh, Mr. Macron, oh, President Macron, oh, President Starmer, and President Mac. It's all that just bollocks from the paparazzi. Oh, we want the best picture. Well, you've got it tonight. And I'll guarantee you that video and those pictures will not be in the mainstream media tomorrow. I will bet your sweet bippy they're not. Because you've just got three of the major leaders in Europe, allegedly, with Charlie paraphernalia on the desk. It was just the way that, you know that if you've caught somebody out, it's that kind of look on Macron's face. Oh, shit, better get the Charlie off the table. Better get it in, out of one hand into another, and then just palm it off into your pocket. And Merck's sitting there going, oh, bagger, the bloody snuff spoon has been cut. It's like a little plastic thing. But then again, you see, they'll have top quality Charlie. It won't have been stepped on that many times, so it'll be quality Charlie. It wasn't cutlery, Rich. I promise you, it wasn't cutlery. We've looked at the video, we've checked the video, we've checked to see if it's a deep fake, and it comes back 87% deep fake. So, not quite sure what they were doing in there, but that's the only defence. I mean, Starmer might come out and go tomorrow and go, oi, yeah, Rollins, that was shite, man. That video, how do we hear? It was utter bollocks. Technical term, obviously, the prime ministers are allowed to use in speeches to the world. Sniff, snuff. You see, there's people pissing on the stairs, they just don't care. Can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Melly Mel, white lines. Why would I be reading that out? Oh, I know what I was going to do. Bollocks. I was going to do something else, which I thought was quite clever, and I forgot. Oh, dear Lord. So, yes, hang on a second. It was the remote control for Starmer's prostate massager. Very good idea, Terry. That's possibly why he was sitting there without a grimace or a smile on his face. It must be iPhone-controlled Lord Ali. Aidan Wellsmith, congrats to the new pontiff, Bob Pope. Pope Bob, Aidan. It's Pope Bob, not Robert. And he's called Louis, not Leo. The lion. Didn't have a heart. Sniffy Starmer. I prefer Charlie Starmer myself, Stuart. Because, well, we've had King Charles, so Charlie. There's all kinds of Charlies floating around, especially in show business. What, you don't think politics? It's the entertainment arm of the military-industrial complex. So, having someone called Charlie around is comedy opening. Paulie Galtieri, Starmer was sitting on a well-lubed butt plug. He does have that look about his face for that. But, we could only... I don't think he was wearing trousers that would allow easy access, to be fair. But I'll take your word for it, Paulie. Herding cats, what really troubles me is how quickly us natives were shut down while those in Middle Eastern persuasion were allowed to run roughshod with impunity, as demonstrated in the Northwest Town Dance Club. We're going to get to that, herding cats, because Starmer's... well, in the words of the great Chinese philosopher, he's a cock. Macron's mum will be furious. That's very funny, Alan. That is very funny. Here, come here. You've got something on your nose, silly boy. You should have washed it before you came home. Brilliant. Rich, I'd rather it was dry and full of sand. What, his butt plug or the Charlie? Bad Wolf Project. Highlight of the week, Biden appearing on The View. Deer caught in the headlights. Biden was given the question 7 days prior and still managed to look like a clueless goof. No change there then. And he's supposedly, or was supposedly, the most powerful man in the West. Not anymore. Aidan Wellsmith says, Starmer of Leo. Oh, interesting. Cuban Peters, a guy in our local pub used to have a remote control that triggered the love eggs his wife was wearing every 10 minutes or so. Did he keep her in the house while he was having a couple of liveners with the lads? I was going to ask you a question before we got into Starmer and all the politics, because it is entertaining. I mean, can you imagine a politician being on Charlie? No, surely not. I was going to say, at which point do we start complaining about it being too hot and too dry? Because we've only had a fortnight of sunshine, apart from one day where it rained. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, it's a bit warm tonight. So, hands up, I'm allowed to. I'm the reverend of this body of the cook. I'm allowed to put my hand up and say, I'm English from the north. It's pretty warm. Alice Griffith says, do the toolmaker's son say it puts the lotion on the skin or it vets the hose again? Wouldn't surprise me. Possibly. Has he been to any Diddy parties? He would have got the lube from the 1,000 bottles of the stuff. So Starmer, I still want an answer to what it was. Some people are saying, oh, it was a tissue. Was it really? Was it one of those, and you can come in the tissue, and then we'll just hide the tissue? What? There was 3 of them. I mean, what can you say? Your mind can race. You can come up with anything. What was it? Did President Macron, took off the table? Will somebody ask him? Don't be stupid. Will anybody ask President or Chancellor Merck? I've just had a Merkin gag go through my head. Honestly, I can't. My brain's going quicker than my gob, and my gob's struggling to catch up with all the monkey gags I've got going through my head. Merkin, Chancellor, Germany. It's about right. Bunch of fannies. Oh, you want to start a world war again? Fuck off. We beat you the last 2. We're not going to go best of 3. We've already got best of 3. We're not doing best of 5 either. Neil Cunningham. Comment of the like, Neil. A wanky hanky. Better than a wonky donkey. Stuart, Sugar, View Bovril, a French letter. No. Honestly, we could have lots of comedy out of the wanky hanky. A Merkin man for Germany. So I think the only answer to this, and I know they'll refuse, they won't actually do anything like this, but they've all got their own hair. Albeit they've got a Merkin, but they've all got their own head hair, should I say. And what they should do is they should take, because it's the most accurate drugs test, seemingly, they should take a snip of their hair and get it tested. And if there's any Colombian in there, then they should be sacked immediately. Now, saying that, somebody within the Labour Party will go, bugger me. Well, not again. Bugger me. We can get rid of Starmer. How? Just do a hair test on him. Why would you do that? He's got hair. We can see that. We don't need to test it. Well, you never know what you'll find. Oh, look, if we're going to do one, we're going to have to do them all. That would end politics completely. The Burning Balloon apart, 5-knuckle shuffle. Yeah, 5-finger. Aidan Wellsmith. So they went to A&E, open about what had happened. A&E couldn't get it, and so sent her to obstetrics. Oh, sorry. Comment above. Aidan says, those sat uni, a couple of students were messing around with one of those stone eggs that one of their parents had in a basket. It got lost. Can you imagine? Right, I'll put my miner's lamp on. Let's have a look. I'll just, I'll get me equipment. Now, they've got their own hair. Let them take a drugs test to see what they test positive for. Now, not a personality, obvs, but have a look at the video. Have I posted it on X? If I haven't posted it on X already, I'll post it at the end of this live. Macron he's like, isn't that called dubious delight in body language? If somebody's like, or Gurning, it's either an E or it's Charlie. Either way, dubious delight. Honestly, Macron just kind of gave the game away. Unless they're just, well, he's done seemingly. He's out of a job. Starmer, well, we hope he's out of a job. I saw another video of some concert somewhere with like tens of thousands of people singing Starmer is a wanker. I just don't. The Westminster bubble, or Westminster bubble, they actually believe their own hype. And yet the whole country, from what I see, evidently it's not going to be all 68 million of us. There might be some dissenters, hardline Labour supporters or Starmer supporters or Charlie Starmer supporters. Either way, there's so many people. And I will guarantee you that the next time we go to a general election, there will be a higher turnout to get rid of these idiots, these clowns, these morons that think, you know, that Charlie's a good way of getting through life. Did you see the photo of Harry knocking on a stranger's door asking if they fancied going for a pint? I did. Did he ask them if they were going for a pint or whether they had any Omo or Daz left? Andy Turner says, I see the McCanns are still peddling their shite. I do wish they would do a lie detector test. They obviously wouldn't. They don't want to. I wonder why. So we are going to, one of the questions is around the McCanns. But what we're going to do tonight, slightly differently, around the McCann subject, is I'm going to give you some of the details that are coming out. And I'm going to ask you a sequence of questions, not just one, yes or no, sequence of questions around Madeleine McCann and the case. I had to let you know, I had someone who I felt was very genuine, got in contact with me the other day and said, look, I am psychic and I'll happily talk about what I've picked up around the McCann case. And it's really challenging because do you? Don't you? He'd been to some other YouTubers who turned him down. And I thought, well, I can only ask honest questions. So maybe that will answer now that Christian Bruckner is making headlines again. Well, he's not necessarily making headlines. Other journalists are making the headlines for him. Bad Wolf Project to Andy Turner. Look at the interview by body language expert Darren Standing. Says it all. So does the cadaver dog that went into the apartment and indicated there'd been a dead person behind the sofa. So we'll get to that in a moment. I want to stay with Starmer and I want to get to your feelings around young Charles. So the headlines today, it must be on the front of the Super Soarway, next election, it's me versus Nigel. And I thought, here, You absolute muppet. You genuinely believe that bullshit. You're believing your own hype. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in a month of Sundays. The people want you gone. They will make sure that you've gone. They'll make sure that the Labour Party is eviscerated. It's finished. It is no more. You're not for the workers. And do you know, there was a party that were on the ballot paper for the local elections. It was the union, trade union and Socialist Party. Tough if you got a lisp. Trade Union and Socialist Party. And I thought, who were they? I've never heard of them before. Is that, what's his face? Jesus, honestly, my memory today. Former leader of the Labour Party. A little left of Marxism, a whole lot left of Marxism. The Chinese Communist Party's going, Jeremy Corbyn. That's a bit radical for us, mate. So yeah, Corbyn. Is that Trade Union and Socialist Party? Is that Corbyn? Hang on, Andrew. What you said? That's probably Mrs. McCann in a book that Maddie had. Perfect. Hang on a second, Andrew. Is Gentiles what I think it is? Genitals. Which book was that, Andrew? That's like just weird. Yeah, who talks about their own daughter like that, other than Gary Glitter? In his bottle cap, I agree with the cadaver dog. Not only did it indicate that there had been a dead person behind the sofa, but it also indicated that a dead person had been in the hire car. How did that work then? I don't know. Maybe you do. Staying with Starmer, I want to get through this because he deserves it. So he said today, it's me versus Nigel in the next general election. I think you'll find he's on his own, you moron. He's on his own. They're not interested in... The voters are not interested in you. They're not interested in your party. Yvette Cooper's been sent out to face the public tomorrow to tell us that anybody that commits crime, any of the illegals, the immigrants that commit any crime, and you're out. Well, the first thing they're doing is it legal or is it not? If it's illegal, that's a crime. Come off. Come off straight back to France. Oi, Macron, we'll give you a bag of Charlie if you take all these illegals. They're illegals. President Macron, we'll give you 2 bags of Charlie. Obviously, I wouldn't know where to get it. And I'm not promoting anyone taking anything recreationally. It's bad for you, especially if the cops find you. Rich says there's a website called the McCann's Files, worth a read just to see what someone thinks. I will give it a look. So we don't care. Look, Charlie boy, we don't care, mate. We really don't care what you think, what you decide to say at the dispatch box, what you decide to say via your head of communication or your PR team, because, well, it's a word that readily trips off the tongue, and I'm sure many other people would agree. But, mate, you're fucked. That's it, man. The Labour Party, 100 years worth of history, and you rabidly ambitious arsehole, have killed it off. Killed it. Eviscerated. It's no more. This parrot is dead. So's the Labour Party. I mean, you'll have your few diehards who think, oh, yeah, it's the Workers' Party. It's not the bloody Workers' Party, because Anthony Charles Linton, oh my word, another Charles that led the Labour Party. So there's Anthony Charlie Linton Blair. Google Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates. You'll get the drift. So now we have another Charlie at the head of the Labour Party. The last Charlie killed the Labour Party off. It was the party of the workers, and then Charles Linton decided it wasn't. It was for the middle classes and the centrist Tories. Remember that picture of his eyes, the devil eyes. I've still got it on my phone. Devil eyes. The Tories knew what they were talking about. They knew what he was about. Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates. Mind you, his wife Sherry loved taking showers with women. What does that say about her? But a badly packed kebab was very clean. What do you mean you never saw me lips move, you wrong? Aidan says, Paul McCockey, for the reform, need a migration court above the Supreme Court. They need a list of safe countries, simple check, safe country, year out. Gone. The public convenience connoisseur is the one in charge of today's party, I know. And he wants us to all have digital IDs. I told you last year that Tony Blair wanted unique digital identifiers. It's just in the wording. It's digital ID. But he said individual digital identifiers, IDI. They don't care. They just want the money. They just want the millions. I've got a BBC headline from a little earlier, which I couldn't believe. If you complain to the BBC, oi, you bunch of perverts, well, they're going to have AI deal with you. Can you imagine? Are you fucking AI? Oh, well, I'm not, I'm a robot. I can't do that. So you're AI, are you? Yeah. So you're not human? No. Can I take a baseball bat to you? Give you a proper fucking? No. So sort me bloody complaint out then. Did I tell you that when I moved house, I contacted the BBC because I paid like a year up front. So I was a year ahead in my TV licence. And I contacted the BBC. Genuine story, my story, lived experience. And I said, look, I've paid up front. I'm 150 or 160 pounds ahead. Can I have my money back, please? Because I've moved into somewhere that's already got a TV licence. And they went, yeah, go to our website and fill the form in. So I thought, that's far too easy. So I went to the website, couldn't find the forms. So I rang them up again the next day and said, one of your colleagues said I need to go to a website, and the BBC website, and fill the forms in, and I can't find the forms. Oh, it's very easy. Just go there. And I filled the forms in, posted them, cost me a stamp, posted them, didn't hear from them again. And I thought, at this point, people will just go, fuck you. But they're quick to have the detective vans, if there's such a thing. I mean, I watched UFO, the TV series. If you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. The detective vans would go around. And I'm sure it was somebody sitting in the van just kind of make an umbrella twiddle through the top of the roof of the van to make it look like, well, high tech. And I remember my mum saying to me once, well, don't switch the telly on. The detective vans are on the estate. And I'm like, what detective vans? BBC. Why? I mean, it was Reedy Fusion. It came through, it was cable, even before cable was cable. But I just, it just sticks in my throat. They will send you to jail for not paying the TV licence. But when you're up front and you pay them a year ahead, they won't give you your money back. You thieving bastards, BBC. See, it makes me swear again. Me Tourette's kicking. It's probably paying for all those Jaffa cakes they have at meetings. Bad Wolf Project. Who was the worst grifter? Kate McCann, Hannah Ingram Moore, or Kate Tiny Tears Garraway? Think the church should raid the coffers and award a chocolate-covered Battenberg trophy. Because that's how it comes out, the Bad Wolf Project. It comes out a different colour. It goes in, then it goes in. Alan says, I remember Rediffusion TV. I'm old. Can you remember? No TV remote control. One of the family had to get up, go to behind the box and switch the switch for channels. Mind you, we only had BBC and ITV at one point. What do you expect from the BBC? I know, thieving, it's a technical term that we use in radio, and I apologise for my potty mouth tonight, but it's enough to make a saint swear. In fact, it's enough to make a pope swear, especially if he's American. Can you imagine? Oh, thieving bastards. Anyway, sorry, did I say that out loud? So, we don't care what Charlie Boy thinks, we don't care what Starmer thinks, we just know that he's possibly, there are a few exceptions, he's possibly the most hated man in this country. We don't believe him. We know what he did around Southport. We know that his political party and government crushed people who were demonstrating against what was going on. Not that they were right-wing thugs. And have you noticed that since the police came out and investigated. They said the police stated facts. There was no right-wing thuggery in the demonstrations. So I'll say that to you again. Starmer lied. Oh, fan my brow, not a first, eh? Or the Labour government. Oh, them politicians lying? How can you tell when a politician's lying? Their bloody lips move. So you've got Yvette, I want to be the next Prime Minister Cooper, presenting something tomorrow to the country, and she's going to go, well, if you commit any crime and you come into this country, you're out. Well, right, brilliant. So if they are illegal immigrants, then come off to France and Charlie Macron. And so I just think that the Westminster bubble is, they're all just blowing smoke up each other's arses, especially in Portcullis House. I mean, they've got their own WhatsApp group so they can order rent boys. How does that work? Easy. You just type it into WhatsApp and a rent boy appears and knocks on your door. Hey! Oh, I thought that politicians were as honest as the day is long. Had a weird shite, man. So you've got Yvette, I want to be Prime Minister Cooper. You've got Mr. Creosote, David Lammy. You've got Wether Thin Mincer. No, fuck off, I'm stuffed. Good, so's your career. And we've got, it's between Wes Streeting, who's trying to do something with the NHS. Not quite sure, because I think they've flogged it off to America now. Got a trade deal. We've got a trade deal. And Trump has always been after the NHS. He wants piles of those billions. I mean, at his age, he's probably got piles already. But he's it made me laugh. So you got it's a straight shootout between David Lammy and Yvette Cooper, because nobody wants Starmer. He just lies repeatedly. He would literally flog his granny to be Prime Minister. He doesn't care about anybody else but himself, and that's evident from the way he's been. Well, he hasn't been running the country because we don't have a presidency in this country. We have a prime ministerialship, and it's politics by committee. And you know what that means, don't you? Nobody agrees. Nobody does anything. They all take their bloody expenses and run. So, Charlie Boy Starmer, I'll just put it in plain language, mate. The country hates you. They hate what your government is doing for the country. And the first chance we get, that's a collective, and I'm using the legitimacy of asking people questions on this channel. I will tell you, the legitimacy given to me by the people that watch this channel and vote. Every time I ask a question, you're gone, mate. I mean, I wouldn't say puff. I just would say, you're gone. Bye. Nice to see you. Wouldn't want to be you. How many kids you got now? Are we getting anywhere near a five-a-side? And oh, by the way, you putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. Had a weird shape, man. I just know that all of that is just common garden PR bullshit to keep us engaged. This moral indignation where we turn around and say, no, we don't want that. And he goes, oh, okay, then we won't, because I'm not sending my son across there. He is old enough. He's coming up to being old enough to go into the army as an officer, sir. Nicholas says, I own my empty flat. We and her have bought a new house. The effort the BBC are going to for me to prove my empty flat in the felon is crazy private investigator. That's what I'm saying, Nicholas. When they want money from you, they'll spend more money getting the TV license out of you than the TV license costs. Why would they do that? Is it to make an example of people, or is it just because they're a bunch of caring, understanding 90s types? I think we know the answer. So, Starmer, mate, how do we don't even want you in the next few months. We don't want you to get to the summer break. Sorry, I was running 3 gags through my head there, and I was desperately trying not to say something really, really, really horrible. But by the time they break for their summer recess, we don't want him. He's not. Look, he's in the newspapers today trying to say to the world, well, I've told Vladimir Putin on behalf of the Council of the Unwilling, I've told Vladimir Putin to go and Foxtrot Oscar. Now, I'm waiting for a Mach 3 missile to hit the northeast of England because Starmer thinks he's in charge. He's not even in charge of his own bloody family. His missus has kicked him out. How can he be in charge of anything? He's just trying to be a big man. Well, he needs some lifts in his shoes to start that caper off. And he's just, well, you know, on behalf of Europe. What are you doing? We Brexit in 2016. What are you doing? Are you shagging Macron? Technical term that we use in radio, but why would you be around his house all the time? Why are you around Macron all the time? Is there anything nefarious going on there? And now we've got Merck, the Chancellor. Bloody hell. Last time we had a decent Chancellor, it wasn't Rachel from Accounts, let me tell you. So you've got the Chancellor, Nick, in there, trying to hide the snuff spoon. And honestly, I did that automatically. I don't know why. And he's sort of, I'm in charge. I know what I'm doing. Well, on behalf of Europe, mate, go off. Because we're not in Europe. We voted for that in 2016 and we decided, 17 odd million of us decided that we didn't want to stay. So it doesn't matter what you say or do. We know what you're up to with your WEF puppet games. We know what you're up to with Tony Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates. I think he should change his name by deed poll, by the way, just to add Bow Street Magistrates in there. So Anthony Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates, Blair, who is on the board of WEF, and they're all trying to shaft Treasure Island, me and you, because we are being shafted left, right and centre. And this clown, I want to know what's in that tissue. If it's a wanky-hanky, just tell us. We don't care, mate. We don't care what you do. But you are a married man, so we presume certain things about married men. They help out when it gets busy. So, tomorrow, the wanky-hanky, Charlie Starmer, he's going to announce clampdown on visas to stop reliance on foreign labour. And I just, honestly, I sit there thinking, me, I'm trying my damnedest with the intellect I was given at birth, but I just can't work these utter clowns out. So he's going to announce a clampdown on visas to stop the reliance on foreign labour. We have no reliance on foreign labour. It's going to get to, in 10 years' time, £15 billion per year to keep these scum-sucking pond life in free money and free phones and free accommodation and free healthcare and free NHS. So we know that there is a grift on. We know that some guy who's got a company who houses the migrants, he's now a billionaire. A billionaire from Nout. I'm telling you, the reason why it's all happening is somebody somewhere is making a shit ton of money. They don't want us to know. They're going to say, no. But deniability is having a company. So, like Rich Boy Sunak, he had a company, just happens to be the wife's, and his father-in-law's, Infosys. So Infosys got some of the government contracts to run the Rwandan scheme, and they got some of the drilling licenses for the North Sea, and well, they got other stuff, and well, the missus had a non-dom situation. There is a gag there, but I'm not wearing a gimp mask again. So she was a non-dom. I'll wait for you. I do hope you've got sufficient education to understand the joke I've just told you. Oh yeah, the day after he did the deal with India, there's Rich Boy Sunak laughing his cap off. Les Griffiths, it's a big club and we ain't in it, size queen. I'm sure Starmer will be like, oh, I love a big club. I do love a big club. Me too. Normally the big fucking politicians with. Obviously it's a figure of speech. Oh. And all they're doing, look, this is the point of politics. The point of politics is they don't benefit It's not for the greater good, the general man and woman on the street, the voters, the taxpayers. We are just cash cows. We have to cough all of our taxes and all of our national insurance, and then tax on everything else, and then tax again on the everything else that we were taxed on because we were taxed initially. What, keep up? That's all they're after, man. Our money. We go to work like Monday to Friday. Even if you're retired or you go to work or you're trying your damnedest to live a half-decent life and be an honest Injun. There we go. Rich boy Sonite again. He was neither. And they just shaft us. And then what they do, and this is the point of politics. And let me tell you something else, because I've still got loads to talk about with young Charlie boy. That's Charles Starmer, not Charles Linton Blair. Rees-Mogg. Do you know Jacob Rees-Mogg? He's worth 100 million at last count. 100 million pounds. He's agonising over a switch to reform that would see him win back seat with a 20,000 majority. Now, let me tell you something. When Reform won the Cheshire seat recently, the by-election, people said, oh, they only won with 6 votes, so it's really tight. I think you'll find they overturned a 14,700 vote majority of the Labour Party. So no, it wasn't just 6 votes. It was 14,706 votes that Reform got over the vanquished Labour Party. It's done. It's finished. It's over. The party's over. Over 100 years of history. I've told you before, if you watch this channel, I'm from County Durham originally, and Durham Big Meat for decades and decades and decades was the mainstay of the Labour Party every single year. All the trade unions would march past one of the big hotels. I mean, Durham's not that big, to be fair, but walk past a balcony on one of the big hotels, and all the kind of the millionaires in the Labour Party, because you know they're quite wealthy, don't you? I mean, Corbyn, bloody hell. Starmer, bloody hell. They're not scrapping around at 20, 25, 30 grand a year and trying to put food on the table for the kids. No, they get everything bought and paid for them, and then they take the piss by putting stuff on X's. So Durham Big Meat was always the big Labour Party meat of the year, and then once the miners' strike took the heart and soul out of the northeast of England and Nottinghamshire and South Wales, and the steel works that seemingly this Labour government have come to a deal with China for. China just spunking cheap steel around the world. We can't. Oh yeah, we'll keep Scunthorpe works open, and South Wales and Glasgow's gone, Teesside's gone. So I just wanted to. So Jacob Rees-Mogg is in the frame for coming back into Parliament under a Reform banner. He might come back into Parliament with a 20,000 majority. So I'll ask you. No, sorry. Let me tell you this, and then I'll ask you the first question of the evening. What the reckoning is, Boris will swoop in, headlines today in the Mail on Sunday, Boris will swoop in to save the Tories when Farage self-destructs, allies predict. Do you mind if I just, tell her like it is? Boris, mate, Foxtrot Oscar, we're not interested. We would never vote for you in a month of Sundays. In fact, I would never vote for you if you were the last politician on earth and voting for you meant I would stay alive. I'd fucking vote for death. Because how did you come about all the multi-millions that you've got, you and Kelly and your football team? How many kids you got? Is it a football team or is it a rugby union team yet? So I think Rich has hit the nail on the head. He says to Les Griffiths, Les Griffiths says Reform is controlled opposition. There may be an element of truth to that, Les. But Rich says, to totally agree. And I think Reform are surprised themselves they've done so well. I think it shocked everyone, but it didn't shock those that were voting for Reform, because they've had enough. They've had enough. I can't say this enough. I can't say enoughs to tell you that this country's had fucking enough. They've had it. Look, if there was, this came out on Thursday. It was after Wednesday's live. If you were going to vote tomorrow, and what your voting intention was, as it stood, Reform were going to get 367 parliamentary seats. Second place with 87 was the bloody Lib Dems. They're mad, the Lib Dems. They are getting off their heads, the Lib Dems. But they got 87 seats, which is just a little more than they got last general election. And then Labour and the Tories. The Tories only got 17 seats. The Tory party's over. It's finished. I hope they take the champagne with them. I hope they take their £1,000 leather pants with them. And then they've got, you've got the Labour Party, who only just got, I think it was 25. So these mainstream political parties are over. I can't reiterate this enough. They are done. Over. Because by the time we get to a general election, if it is indeed in 2029 or thereabouts, because I think it'll come earlier, much earlier, the people of this country are going to be so pissed off with the mainstream uniparty, they're just going to go, no, anybody but. I'm not voting the Greens because they're even madder than the Lib Dems. No, anybody. I might vote for the Trade Union Socialist Party. Yeah, we'll give them a go. Reform, they're just, it's, every time we have this general election and they do the polls, it's like, oh, so, well, Reform are going to do this and that and the other. Don't believe the bloody polls, because they've never gotten it right for the last 20-odd years. In fact, oh, there's the thing. They've never gotten it right since Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates, got into power with other paedophiles in his cabinet, which I'm not going to name. No. But I do know. Thomas Hamilton. D-notice. Do your own homework. Thomas Hamilton, D-notice. Why would they put a D-notice on the shooting of kids in Dunblane? Thomas Hamilton. Can't say any more. Can't. Legally, I'll end up, well, you know, it's I'm keeping myself and my family safe. Rich says Jenner. No, Jenner wasn't even. No. Well, it might have been, but he was a Labour Party pervert. He was a Labour Party abuser of children. Because, and I will tell you this, I've never mentioned this before. When I was doing a late night phone in somewhere, and this guy contacted me and says, "Can I come over and see you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." He came to the radio station and we just had a little 15-20 minute cup of coffee. And he said, "Look, I'm going to give you this name. You're probably aware of it, but it's Lord Greville Janner." I said, "Yeah, rings a bell." "Why would it ring a bell?" He said, "I was abused by him." So this is my lived experience. I met someone that came to me and said, now, obviously I have to do due diligence, because anybody could come to me with any kind of story. And what I researched made my hair curl. For legal reasons, I'm not going to go into too much more detail. But this guy was very, very honest, kind of corroborated his story with me in various different ways. And then it turned out that Lord Greville Janner was very good friends with Edward Heath. Very good friends. It doesn't matter what side of the political hue you were or are or could be. And then he was caught out. And he said, "Yeah, right, I won't stand trial, but we can try the facts." Because he was a barrister. And I thought, hang on a second, this is the law. How can we not have the law being upheld? So as Aidan says, Lib Dems had Cyril Smith. There was Freud, BBC as well. I know, the BBC was absolutely chock-a-block with them. There was somebody else, Les Griffith says, Janner, Smith, Savile, Giaconelli, Cuban Pete. They reckon he had dementia. My hairy backside. Halloween, man. These snakes are very, very clever. So let's try the facts, not try the man. So is there a way round this for these clever ne'er-do-wells who get caught out? I don't know. Beata says something very interesting. She says, I don't think we can vote our way out of this. But look, this fat boy who maybe he needs a Ozempic, maybe he's on it. He used to go jogging when he nearly died from Charlie 19. Remember Charlie 19? The good old days when he was saying, oh, you know, thank you to all the medical staff for saving my life. Here, fat lad, cough. You kept everybody else locked down. You didn't. You had bloody parties, man. Number 10. So did Starmer. So did Sunak. They had beers when everybody else couldn't come out of their house. It got to the point where people wanted to borrow other people's dogs just to get out of the house, to take the dog for a walk. That's how bad it was. And rattling your pots and pans on a Thursday night. Oh, man, here. For doctors and nurses that were making TikTok videos and dancing. The NHS still hasn't come back from that. So you've now got Boris will swoop in to save the Tories when Farage self-destructs. Let me tell you something, and I told you over a year before Starmer got anywhere near being Prime Minister, I said to you, and you will remember, is he scaring you yet? You had no idea what I was saying to you. Some did, albeit, but mostly, most people will think, oh, it's Adrian being funny again. Then he becomes Prime Minister, Southport happens, and people are going, holy shit, this man's evil. Correct? That's why I was telling you for 6 months ahead of the general election. But who else were you going to vote for? Reform wasn't in a place to be a fully functioning political party. No, not whatsoever. They are now, though, because the political establishment, they will... I don't want to tempt fate, but if you look at America, they knew that Trump was going to get into power. And look what they did to him. Lawfare, assassination attempts, every which way to stop him. But Trump was clever. 5D chess. Trump was clever. He was working on levels they hadn't even worked out. And so he had Truth Social. So they went, right, we're going to bankrupt you. You need to pay a fine of $500 million. And Trump went, right, okay, no problem. I'll just liquidate some of my assets. And they went, what? Yeah, I'll just liquidate some of my assets. So he sold Truth Social for billions. And went, there you go. Do you want cash? Or do you want dollars? Do you want it in coins? Well, how do you want it then? And they went, no, we want you bankrupt. And he was like, how do I enjoy it? I've done that before. I'm not doing it again. I've got billions in the bank. Here, mate. Cash. Cash or check. What do you want? Bank transfer? No, not a problem. So the lawfare didn't work. The assassination attempts didn't work. So if the political classes know that they're losing their power, they're losing... hang on a second. Hamas say it will release US-Israeli hostages. So it looks like some kind of deal, rapprochement, is coming up in Israel and Hamas and in Gaza. But when you've got Boris the Clown, who it was bad enough him being in charge during lockdown. He was the one that put the emergency laws in place. He was the one that said, we're going to ratify this law so that when we get into possibly a pandemic, then we'll invoke this law. The minute we got into Charlie 19, invoked the law, nobody could do anything. Oh, no, emergency laws. You can't do anything. It's against the law. This is how duplicitous these arses are. I want to know where he's gotten all his money from. Remember, he was the guy that went to Ukraine, had a word with Sniffy and said, Charlie. My name's not Charlie. All right, then. Charles. My name's not Charles. It's Volodymyr. Charles Volodymyr. Don't pack the war in. Stand up to bloody Russia, man. No, don't give in. Keep going. And by the way, buy all of our arms and armaments. You can buy some of the Americans, but buy loads of British. How much did he? I mean, I'm pointing down here because the paper's in front of me. How did Bojo the Clown make all of his millions? I think the question needs to be asked. And I've said to you before, when a politician goes into Parliament, they need to declare how much they've got. Assets that belong to the family, not just the individual, to the wife, to the family. And then when they come out, they're not allowed to make shit tons of money for at least 20 years. So that the only reason they become an MP is to become a servant of the people. And you will be rewarded. The remuneration is sufficient for anybody to live on. You'll get all your expenses paid, but they'll be given back to you when you leave Parliament. You can take a loan out against it, and it'll be a tiny little interest on it, but you'll borrow it from the government, and you'll pay the government back when you leave Parliament. We've got to stop these bloody grifters, because I tell you, it'll stop all the bloody politicians trying to get into politics. They're only in politics to make a shit ton of money. Oh, don't think they're going to make society a lovely and beautiful place where we're going to live in some kind of utopia. How do we and shite, man? They're only there for the bloody money. And Rees-Mogg, he's coming back into politics. He might join Reform. Oh, a snake is always a snake. They just shed their skin and grow bigger. We can talk about Axel Rudabakana if you wish. No, let me ask a couple of questions before we do that. I know a lot of people were talking about Madeleine McCann in the chat. So I'm going to ask you some questions about the Madeleine McCann disappearance. I know a lot of people have a lot of knowledge because they picked it up from the media, a lot of knowledge around this case. And as I say, this psychic contacted me and wanted to come on the show. I might still, if I can, get him on because I think now is a good time. So remember, it's 1 for yes, 2 for no. I'm going to ask just a couple of questions, and I'm also going to give you more detail. But the first question is this: the Madeleine McCann disappearance. Question 1. Do you think we've been told the truth? 1 for yes, 2 for no. The Madeleine McCann disappearance. Do you think that that we've been told the truth? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Bloody hell. Now, either I've got a bunch of cynical old darts watching the Theatre of the Mind this evening, or a lot of people have, well, they're learned and educated people. Andy Turner, Kathy Harper, Martine, Elizabeth Gregson. Elizabeth, are you the first time? Brilliant. So if anybody is a first timer, just let me know in the comments, because we always pop a newbie's cherry to the channel. Jackie Glasgow. I see you, Sandra Wytham. No, Sandra. Right, okay. I can't say that. You can comment, but I can't. I can't possibly. Aidan Wellmouth. A more accurate question: do the authorities know the truth? I don't think they do. Interesting, Aidan. So, do you think we've been told the truth? 1 for yes, 2 for no, and it's virtually all 2s. Second question. Do you believe Madeleine McCann was murdered? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you believe that Madeleine McCann was murdered? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Interesting. Pauline says no. There's a few. Well, the sequence of questions is going to flush that out. So a lot of people are saying yes, they do believe. So my question is, do you believe that Madeleine McCann was murdered? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Tom Harney says 1, but not sure. I am going to ask a subsequent question because there's a few that I want to ask your opinion on. Aidan tries to qualify the question: on the night, later, or years later. Des Ashton sacrificed. Wow. Stuart says there's so many theories in the Mandy case. So we have got yes and no's. So some people who say no want me to qualify, but I'm now going to ask you a different question. So hold your votes. First question was, do you think we've been told the truth? And that the majority said no, 2. I've just asked you, do you believe she was murdered? And the majority have said yes, 1. There were some dissenters, there were some 2s. Paulie Galtieri says, why did the parents have drinks with a known nonce? Interesting, Paulie. Andrew James, she was drugged to death or fell off the sofa breaking her neck. Okay, right, I'm going to ask you another question. And as always, the answer is 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you believe that Madeleine McCann was the victim of an accident? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you believe that Madeleine McCann was the victim of an accident? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Interesting. I'll ask you the question again. Do you believe that Madeleine McCann was the victim of an accident? And it is 50-50. It's a few more no's coming in. The old Bovril is saying 0, I don't know, as is Aidan Wellsmith. Andy Turner, very good question, rather. How much are the friends getting paid to keep quiet? Never interviewed, as far as I know. No, I've never seen an interview with the friends. The Tapas 5 or something, Tapas 4, the other people that were at the meal that night. Nobody's ever come out. Ever. And that says to me, without any kind of supposition, that if in the media, like Meghan Markle's, because that's how she's known in my house, so she can want to be called Meghan Sussex as much as she wants. She's not Meghan Sussex, she's Meghan Mountbatten Windsor when she gets her title taken off her, and that's coming. But when the media will pay for stories, not as much as they used to, but they still will pay for stories. So if you've got a story that you were there the night Madeleine McCann disappeared, and I'm having to use the official version for the moment. So were you there the night that Madeleine McCann disappeared? I was in the restaurant with her parents. Can you imagine? You're talking 6 figures from the newspapers if you give them the story, and nobody's coughed. Nobody. Nothing. Now, if you're not willing to take the poison shekel from the mainstream media, tells me you've got something to hide, because it's easy money. Literally the easiest 100, 200, £250,000 you're ever going to make. Telling the newspapers the truth and what happened the night Madeleine McCann disappeared. Easy money. Easy. And nobody said anything. Now, in my view, 40 years in the media, radio, TV, been editor of magazines and newspapers, I know how the game works. If no one has come forward to say anything, they're hiding something. It's a bit like when you've got to ask someone loads of questions about something that very easily would trip off their tongue, and they should be very happy to tell you. You know they're telling lies. But somebody earlier in the comments said, Gene Psychic said it would be front page news, only it would not, as they are mostly highly connected parents of a missing child. Well, yes, and I won't go too deeply into this, but I think there are, in this story, I'm not identifying any individuals, but I think there's Munchausen's involved in this. If you don't know what Munchausen's is, I'm not suggesting this is the reason that Madeleine disappeared. Well, Munchausen's is someone that garners attention from others' misfortune. That's a really general brushstroke around Munchausen's by proxy. And Munchausen's is, you can see certain people who want the attention from the media. When they get the attention from the media and then the attention wanes a little, they try to get the attention again. Munchausen's, they try to get the attention again from the media. So why did Madeleine McCann's mum, and she was quoted, the story was in the Sun. Jerry and I haven't been able to make love since. What, the actual? Now, I know the media is a beast. And if you just say something, they will rewrite it to fit their narrative because they're all about profit. Whether she said that or not will be down to whether the journalist recorded it on a tape or not. And invariably, to put that kind of stuff out, they would have done. So, I see you. I'm not buying Munchausen, aren't you? It's classic. I'm not, I can't, for legal reasons again, I can't go specifically to and give you individuals. But I'm just telling you, if you, well, everyone's welcome to their opinion. I see you, you're welcome to your opinion. So I believe that there is Munchausen's involved somewhere. So let me talk about Christian Bruckner. And I will say this. The press, either the German police or the British police, because they keep getting more money, the German police are saying that they have credible evidence. They're now saying they've been to a warehouse that he had and have found some evidence there. Well, do you know something? It's been nearly a generation since Madeleine went missing. To the German police. Shut up. Shut up and stop your bullshit housery, mate. That's Mackenzie. Twats. You've got credible evidence and you're withholding that evidence from a court of law. If you've got a prime suspect and you've got the credible evidence, put him in a court of law. Put him in the dock. Oh, you don't want to do that because all the shit might come out. Oh, so all the newspapers, they're just saying, oh, well, Christian Bruckner is a suspect. Well, he's just a suspect until he's not, until he's prosecuted. So whomever is feeding the mainstream media this bullshit, stop. If you've got the credible evidence, put the credible evidence through in front of what may be the German CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, or the British CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. Put the evidence in front of your aligned organisations and let them decide whether there is any chance of both prosecution and conviction. And until then, shut the fuck up. Because it's all bullshit. It's all for selling newspapers. They don't have credible evidence. If they did, they'd have him in a court of law. They'd charge him with it. And how the hell have they connected Christian Bruckner with the Madeleine McCann case? Oh, because he happened to be in the area at the time. Well, did you see the photo fit that they made of a man that one of the witnesses saw carrying a baby, a lifeless baby, away? Was the absolute spitting double of Madeleine's a relative. Absolutely spitting double. And then all of a sudden stop using it as evidence. No. It's a photo fit. Wasn't accurate. No. So look, the cops, for whatever reason, because there's something, I don't know about you, but something smells. And remember, a fish rots from the head down. Something smells. We've had cadaver dogs identify and indicate to behind the sofa in the apartment and in the hire car. A cadaver dog. They shit themselves when that result came back because they were obviously going to go, nah, it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. But the police, whether it's the Met, I'm not quite sure why it's the Met, because victims live elsewhere in the country. And it shouldn't be the Met. It should be Leicestershire Police. So they've got the victims of a child that's gone missing, but the Met's doing it. And the German police are saying Christian Bruckner. And to sort of round it off, I get your zeitgeist. I get your feeling on it. It's still a very raw case that people have genuine opinions on because there's been so much reportage over the last 18 years or so that my full stop for today on this story is this. There would never, ever have been a missing little girl if the parents had actually done what the parents should have done, in my view, which is stay with their kids, sleep with their kids. And I obviously, I completely understand that was there an older brother and sister and a younger sibling. So this would never have happened. There would be no missing person. Madeleine McCann would not have disappeared or been abducted or murdered or been a victim of some kind of terrible accident. However you want to slice this particular story, there would be no missing person if the parents of the child had actually not gone AWOL the night that Madeleine McCann disappeared. And for some inexplicable reason, that focus, or Aguidos, as one of the Portuguese police officers or detectives, equivalent to detectives, said they went AWOL. Oh, it was okay, they were just checking on her. Really? If that had been a council estate, mum or dad or single mum, they would have thrown them in jail and thrown the key away. So please don't, in my view, don't give me any of this bullshit about, well, we've got a suspect, or we've got this, or we've got that, or it was like this, or it was like that, or the cadaver dog did this and that and the other. This case would have been a non-case if the parents hadn't gone AWOL the night that she disappeared. And that fact is being forgotten, conveniently. Amalia Grassi, absolutely. What parent leaves their children in a separate building and feck off down a whole road? Nobody. I agree with you, Amalia. But the way that it's being reported in the press, they never report that anymore. It's, oh, Christian Bruckner's a suspect. Well, how do we in shite, man? If he's a suspect, bring the evidence that you have to confirm that he's a suspect, get him into the evidence into your organisation that decides whether a prosecution would be viable, and then get him into a court of law, German or English, get him into a court of law. And we've been told he's been a suspect for, well, years. Oh yeah, it's definitely him. He's a suspect. He's not a fucking suspect unless you've got the evidence to corroborate that subject's position. But for me, the most important thing that is forgotten about is if they'd never gone off down the road and left their children alone, this would be a non-story. Did Kate refuse to answer police questions? Of course she did, Chris. Des Ashton, distraction, of course. Rich says to Amalia, I grew up in the age of Butlins. Parents used to go to the bar and staff used to monitor the chalets. There was a board saying baby crying in chalet number. We've all been there. You know, parents want to go out, but she wouldn't be missing. Little Madeleine wouldn't be missing if the parents were with their kids. English bottle cap. The McCanns get to raise the twins and not have them removed because they were careless parents. Very interesting. Yeah. So the authorities have not been involved. Why are they not involved when one of their children disappeared? Because they're doctors, seen as model citizens of our society? Well, I know the Prime Minister nearly lost a child in the pub, left them there and forgot them. Didn't lose his job. Andrew, that's very naughty. Terry Wookfit, I hate to tell you, but you only need to look at child neglect in the UK. It's more prevalent than you think. And very upsetting, Terry. It is. I think that there's a certain amount of moral indignation around this, but I think it's quite right and proper that we do kick off about it, because nobody I mean, social services, I wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. And I know, oh, but we do good work and we look after children and it's only the negative press that we get. And yeah, right, okay, whatever. If you work in social services, you're part of the problem, not the solution. The system is the system. And if you were... Look, Michael Jackson, most prolific paedophile in showbiz history. Michael Jackson. What did he do? How did he want to meet kids? Oh, I'll have a fair in my garden. So when you've got Thomas Hamilton, procurer of children for the most powerful paedophiles in Scotland, and they put a D notice on him, and the story, Dunblane. Why would they do that then? Because there's names in there they don't want getting out. I know who they are. Can't say. I'll end up with my brake pipes being cut. Dead men can't speak. And I'm not aligning Dunblane with the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. It is a unique but saddening story. But as I say, there are levels within society. If they'd been a council estate couple, their social services would have been straight in, kids off them. We'll take them into foster care. Can't look after your kids, and yet they've still got their own kids. How does that work? Two-tier, by any chance? Anybody? 2025? Amalia says, the Butlins thing, they had someone look out for the child and they were contained within the Butlins camp, not a public road. Can't dispute on child neglect. This is true. It is. And they would... Look, when we were kids, it was different times. We had people looking out for each other's kids. We would have... I mean, when was the last time you had a knock on the door saying, can I borrow a cup of sugar? We were always getting knocks on the door from neighbours, and obviously we knocked on their doors if we ran out, because there was no such thing as, we'll go to the supermarket. They didn't exist, supermarkets. Beata says, Terry Wookford, sadly, you're right. My sister used to work for social services and had some awful stories. I know. And look, no one tackled Cyril Smith. And I'm being facetious. You'd be flattened if you did. Definitely not a rugby player. Cyril Smith, no, he's not like that. The boy dies. Fucking hell. He was a child fiddler. He was this, he was that, he was the other. And everybody was like, hang on a second. I thought you said he wasn't. He was just a politician. He was just a cuddly, friendly politician. Edward Heath. What the fuck? He used to drop him off the boat in the English Channel, man. Dead men can't speak. What, you think I'm winding you up? Peter Conway. Kitty. Just talking about cats. Phil Levan, in the 80s, parents would leave the kids outside the pub to get pissed. I know, I was one of those kids. I mean, Guy Fawkes night, you'd make a fortune just sitting outside the pub with a guy, Guy Fawkes, and people would give you halfpennies and pennies, and I mean, you were lucky if you got a sixpence, but still, it was a shit ton of money for a kid back in the day. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, you wrong. Sierra Alpha Bravo in the 80s. I lie, early 90s. My parents would have got me a half. Can you hear those bloody dogs? Shut up! I was going to say I was Dr. Dolittle there for a second. Oh, they're just... Oh, for fuck's sake. Gene Psychic. I was a kid left outside the pub with Coke and crisps. Oh, we're back to Starmer again. Charlie boy. Stuart says you're upsetting the dog ref. I know. I should give them some Battenberg. Battenberg and altar wine. That'll shut them up. Can you imagine? They're only little. We're dog sitting, by the way. If you're trying to... Hang on, ref. What's going on? We're dog sitting for family, and they're fabulous dogs. And brilliant guard dogs, as you can hear. And every time that they kind of go a bit nuts, I have to go to them and say, thank you. We've got it from here. Thank you. I don't think anybody's going to break in now. Thank you very much. And what is it with dogs and postmen? Not that I'm going off topic here, but what is it with dogs and anything you put through the letterbox? They go absolutely stark raving bonkers. And we're having to, literally, the minute we hear the post box go, we've got to run downstairs because they'll chew the letters into smithereens and you kind of go, so who was that from? Dunno. It's a jigsaw. Chuck it in the bin. If it's important, they'll write back. It sounds like dog bones at 10 paces, says Mad Matt UK. I know we're dog lovers on this channel. Keeps buffering, but then comes back. Just me. Yeah, Amalia, it's just you. I'm monitoring, and it appears to be all right. Right, I'm going to ask you another question. And we're kind of on... a lot of the time when I'm preparing for these lives, I don't go into really deep stuff because sometimes you haven't got the time to read the newspapers that I have. But it's kind of a zeitgeist. It's sort of a community, worldwide thinking that I tend to ride the crest of if I can. There are some other YouTubers that do it brilliantly, but for these lives, I tend to look at the subjects that are sort of there or thereabouts, like Pope Bob or Sir Keir Starmer being an arsehole again. And I want to get to, it's something that I've kind of mentioned before, but I just want to get to your thoughts on things and your responses on things, because I've got a dear friend who for health reasons, and more often than not these are for health reasons, not just because you're a bit chunky or a bit broad in the beam, but I have a dear friend who for health reasons needed to lose weight quite quickly, so they put him on Ozempic. And for this moment I'll use Ozempic as the example. And he lost 5, nearly 6 stone, amazingly. And since he's come off Ozempic, hasn't put £1 pound back on after losing, 5, nearly 6 stone in just over a year. Now that's A, insane, and B, marvellous. Because if somebody needs a weight jab for health reasons, and if you're carrying a bit of timber, then there's no better health reason. But I want to know, and I'm phrasing this question in a different way, because if you want to talk about it, then I'm happy for you to tell me your story, albeit in the comments. But if you don't and you just want to answer the question, that's also fine, because there's no judgment on this channel whatsoever. But would you or have you ever taken the weight loss jabs? And it's a real hot topic at the moment, because there's so many people using this facility to help them lose weight. Because you and I know how, look, I've been a chunky boy. I mean, I was a sprinter in my 20s. I did 7.1 seconds for an indoor 60 meters. So I was fairly tasty. But the difference between the world record at 6.5 seconds and 7.1 may as well be the difference between me being on the moon and down here. So, but let me just, so again, would you or have you taken the weight loss jabs? A lot of 2s. Rich says, I'm considering it. I'm 2 stone overweight. The old one, not yet. Gene Psychic, my son has lost 2 stone as he had a fatty liver. Very interesting. Ray Norton says, no exercise and portion controlled food. I did that. I did an 800 calorie because of Professor Roy Taylor at the Newcastle Resonance Centre. It was called the Newcastle Diet, 800 calories. Before that thieving bastard, that doctor who suddenly took somebody else, in my view, took somebody else's work and claimed it as his own. Grubby. But interesting. Martine, what was the... Sandra Wytham, no, possibly could do with it. Martine says, I'd never trust any injection ever again. Why is that, Martine? Jackie Glasgow says no. Do low carb. Ian says no. Now, I'm not casting any aspersions. I'm very interested in your take on this. Michael Mosley. Yes, that was it, Stuart. He nicked it from Professor Roy Taylor. Well, appropriated it, I think is a better word rather than nicked it, but he still nicked it, whether it was appropriated or not. 800 calorie diet, books, everything. His missus is a nutritionist. And they can't deny what I'm saying here, because Professor Roy Taylor for decades has been trying to get people to use calorie control diet, portion control, exercise. But we're going off topic for the moment. No jabs for me, never, says Deborah Hart. Mad Matt, if the full gastric bypass counts, then yes. Oh, fantastic, Mad Matt. That's real courage there, because that was real science in its infancy. And what Professor Taylor did was he replicated the gastric bypass by portion control, calorific control, exercise. I mean, I did the 800 calories, and literally one meal can be more than 800 calories. So I was intermittent fasting. I was doing 16-8. So I would get up and I would exercise, then have a banana around lunchtime, and then I would have a shake. And Professor Taylor used these shakes from America, and they, with my GP, because they were going to put me on these shakes, because my blood sugars were so high, they thought I was going to keel over with a heart attack or a stroke. I mean, at my age, I'd love a stroke now. But I'm being facetious, and I don't mean any ill health. But hang on, where's Amalia gone? Grill it frozen. Ooh. Obesity wasn't a problem before processed food and fast food outlets. I understand and agree with you completely, Les. But the shakes that Professor Taylor used were so expensive for, it was about £200 per month, and they had to be ordered in from America. So my GP went, no, we're not paying for those. You'll have to pay for those. And I was like, go off. 600 quid. I've never been in your surgery since I was a kid, and now you're saying 600 quid. No. So I was told, we're not going to fund that. And then I went and found, was it Slim Fast? Used that, one shake a day. So banana, one shake a day. Then my main meal was normally a chicken breast grilled with some other bits and pieces with some vegetables. But again, size control, portion control. Andy Turner says, one of the weight loss injections is used in diabetic injections. The NHS cannot get, so buggers me up. I had to go on something new. So I think from my research, so Ozempic is kind of the name of the weight loss jab that everybody knows. And now there's Wegovy and Mounjaro. And the more people that I speak to, they say, oh yeah, I use Mounjaro. I think that's the one that the NHS uses more of, because I think Ozempic is quite expensive. And obviously the NHS doesn't want to spend any money whatsoever. Some people would rather you die than spend money on you. Mad Matt says, I now have a B12 injection once every 3 months. I take 6 calcium tablets a day because my bloody body keeps taking calcium from my skeleton. 1 ferrous sulfate and 2 folic acid for disability. It sounds, though, Mad Matt, as if you've got control of that. The 800 calorie diet it's hardcore, and I can say that because I did it. I did it for 12 weeks, but my GP looked at my blood sugar, so I had a blood test done. I ended up in A&E. They thought I was going to die. Bless them. Keep pounding on. So I was in A&E. They gave me a letter because they did a blood test, and they said, oh, you need to go and see your doctor. I said, well, hang on, what then? Why do I need to go and see my bloody doctor for? I'm in A&E. You're the best people to do anything. So if there's, I nearly choked to death, and they had to make sure that I could eat. They said, no, I've organised an appointment for you. Go and see your doctor. So I walked into the doctor's surgery, and he said, well, Mr. Allen, you're diabetic. I said, oh, fuck off, doctor. What do you mean? He said, you're diabetic? I said, no, I'm not. I'm just a bit chubby. He said, I've seen your blood sugar results, Mr. Allen. They're over 20. You're diabetic. I said, oh, I went shite, man. I said, look, have you heard of this Newcastle diet? What Newcastle diet? It's an 800 calorie diet designed by Professor Roy Taylor at the Newcastle Resonance Centre, and it reverses type 2 diabetes. And he went, really? I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll do that for 3 months. I'll do it for 12 weeks, and it'll completely reverse my blood sugars. Yeah, right. Take this metformin, because you're going to walk out of here, you're either going to have a stroke or a heart attack. I said, well, if I'm going to have a stroke, can it be one of the nurses? What do you mean? I'm not taking your bloody metformin. He's like, oh, well, Mr. Allen, go and get it from the pharmacy. I've still got it. I never took it. Now, call me stubborn or mad, but give me 12 weeks. At one point, I thought I was dying. I've never felt so ill in my life. There was a Sunday where I was feeling a little run down, and I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to, I'll just sleep this off. I don't know what this is. I'll just sleep it off. Got up on the Monday and thought, oh, I feel like shite. I'm not going to do any physical exercise. I feel rotten. Got up at lunchtime, and English bottle cap, stop it, you're wrong. And I just thought, I've got to go back to bed. I literally slept from the Sunday all the way through, felt absolutely wretched on the Monday, and then woke up at Tuesday lunchtime thinking, I'm all right now. So I don't know whether it was the sugars leaving my body or what was going on, but this was about week 7 or 8 on the diet. But I literally, after that, my energy was through the roof. I didn't particularly bother about portion control, so I didn't need to eat that much. But I will tell you this, Professor Roy Taylor, and I have recorded an interview for this channel, Professor Roy Taylor has saved so many lives. But in my view, Michael Mosley saw an opportunity, took it, ran with it, and made millions, him and his wife. Stuart says, my dad has to watch what he eats and drinks. He uses the pen to check his blood sugars, and he has to keep between 5 and 7. Yeah, it's about somewhere between 4 and 8. So when I did my blood test at the end of the 12 weeks, the doctor, he said, oh, hello, Mr. Allen, let's just check your blood sugars. Fucking Mr. Allen, quote, directly from me GP. He said, your blood sugars. I said, right, are they bad? He said, no, they're just over 8. I was like, right, what does that mean? Don't take the metformin. He said, no, it's diet controlled now. He said, in 12 weeks, you've literally more than halved your blood sugars. And I said to him, because most people don't realize it's cumulative. If you eat a chocolate bar, that stays in your blood for 90 days. And then if you take another second bar next week, that also stays in your blood sugars for 90 days. You can't just get rid of the sweets, the chocolate, the carbs, if you wish. But the NHS doesn't... There are doctors within the NHS that want to make money from this. So they don't want to tell you the easy way. 800 calories, portion control, bit of diet, 12 weeks, boom, type 2, gone. And Professor Taylor's now saying to me, look, Adrian, if you do have like a load of chocolate or you fall off the wagon, then just do some fasting. Now, I am at some point going to try the water fasting for 2 or 3 days, and then maybe 5 days, and then maybe 7 when I become accustomed to it. But water fasting, literally, like that, reverses your blood sugars. But the NHS don't want you to know that. The big pharma don't want you to know that. And some of the doctors are scared to say that. But all I'm saying to you is this. I've done it. I reversed my type 2 diabetes into a dietary controlled range, and I'm going to see how it goes with a 2, a 3, a 5, and a 7-day water fast. I've looked into it. I've done my research. I'm a ninja. Hang on, what's that? So Interesting take and a lot of honesty in the comments. Terry Wookford, my blood must be pure Cadbury's. Look, there are some people, Terry, that they're rake thin. They can't put any weight on, and even doesn't matter what they eat. I mean, my crack cocaine is cheese scones. Jesus, don't let me go anywhere if there's a cheese scone in there, because I'll show you how to make 2 dozen disappear in 10 minutes. But it's Andrew James says, Terry Wookford, I thought you'd be a Thornton's guy. Yeah, Cadbury's American now, isn't it? English bottle cap. No, rapid eating is not a water fast. And do you know who I saw talk about this initially? And it was Dana White, head of the UFC, mixed martial arts, MMA. It was him. He was saying, yeah, you've got to take your electrolytes, so a bit of salt in water, not many so that it tastes like, seawater. But get your electrolytes in, and then have like beef broth or chicken broth or a broth of some kind when you end your fast. Not go, brilliant, right, I've starved myself for 3 days. I'm never going to stop eating for at least a fortnight now. That's just a folly. But he said, I do 2 or 3 days. He stripped all of his body fat. He's obviously still working out in his 60s. He looks fantastic. And it was Dana White that I saw, and I thought, well, look, if Dana can do it. But he's around, high-level elite athletes all the time. But stripped all of his body fat. He's down to some insane amount of body fat. But if it can work and, it helps your health, then I'm going to do it. I may do a little kind of vlog diary around it, so that you can see firsthand whether I'm losing my mind, whether it was a folly, whether it was any good. But I only ever talk about my lived experience, because then I can say with any certainty, hang on, Mr. Bates, Master Bates, Baby Reindeer, and Mr. Loverman win big at BAFTA TV Awards. Do you know? Where's Slow Horses? Slow Horses. I mean, Mr. Bates, yes, of course, the post office, and nothing's still being done years down the line. Baby Reindeer, yeah, okay, but it's not Slow Horses. And then Mr. Loverman. Gary Oldman is one of the most superb actors of our generation, of any generation. And his character in Slow Horses is literally superb. But the BAFTAs, Halloween shite. Let's get to, and this actually disgusted me, because there's agendas everywhere, and the agendas don't allow the indigenous population of this island to have a say. So whether people kick off about certain things and end up in jail, which I think is abhorrent, this Labour government should be gotten rid of just for that alone, for how they handled Southport and how they handled. Do you remember me telling you, there's no such thing as right-wing thugs in Hartlepool or Middlesbrough or Sunderland or Newcastle or anywhere in the northeast. And yet this Labour government said they were right-wing thugs. Now, we know that the government would have access to people who could go around and cause chaos and disturbances because they're on the government payroll. And they could turn around and say they were right-wing thugs. But I'm telling you now, Hartlepool, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, the northeast of England, it's about as right-wing as my hairy backside. And now the police have come out and said, well, there was no right-wing disturbances. They weren't right-wing. No. Must have been the government then. Can you imagine? Having disruptors at your behest. I'm not saying they did, but I'm not saying they didn't. Terry Wookford, Amber Turd, has had twins. Has she? Okay, now. Is she with a billionaire or something? She's got to make sure she gets, don't say that, Adrian. Herding cats, love cheese scones. I'll fight you for them herding cats. Oh, red Leicester cheese scones. Oi, 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 oi. Jane Psychic, well said. Merseyside, very in right wing. Jane Psychic. Right wing Merseyside. But Liverpool's red, deep red, left wing. They're not. Whatever comes out of Starmer's mouth, I never believe. Ever. Starmer's mouth just talks shite, as is evident by nearly the last year. Thank you, Rich. Great show tonight, Adrian. So many different threads. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. And you've got Starmer going, the right-wing thugs. I'm being careful. Herding Cats. Adrian, can you please do a debrief session after your lives? My blood pressure goes through the roof with all these topics. How would I do that, Herding Cats? Because normally I come to the end of the lives when my energy's running out and I'm not exactly the Duracell bunny, but I just kind of hit the wall and go, right, all night. If I'm not going to talk shite, I need to shut up and get myself away for another cup of hibiscus and then get myself to bed. But if that's something, maybe I could do it earlier and then we do a debrief session. Sounds like a fabulous idea, by the way. Starmer the farmer harmer. I'm with you, Gene. Amalia's saying likes. Yeah, wrong uns. I'm knocking my pipe out here, and on my screen it's only 15. Let's have a look. Oh, we're over 100, thankfully. But as I say, if you could be so kind to hit the likes, because if we get anywhere near 200, it's the algorithm goes, oh, hello, what's going on here then? Sam, they get their opinion from X and not a thought between them all. I'm with you. But I just want to talk very quickly about this reverse racism. That's what it is, ostensibly. And how the people of this island, Treasure Island, because loads of people from outside, they want our utilities, they want our housing stock. Look at Larry Fink. So, look, the next time that Sir Keir Starmer gets up at the dispatch box and goes, we've had £63 billion in inward investment. Please, somebody in the chamber, ask him to name it. Because he doesn't. Now, I'm not suggesting it's a lie, but I'll tell you who is paying for the housing stock in this country. BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, JP Morgan. They're all at it because they don't, I've done this at length. They don't want you to own anything. You'll own nothing and be happy. The bloody Marxist WEF in Davos. And yet, look at America, how America's thriving. And the left is, and look, I'm not aligning myself to any right-wing politics because politics is shite. It's just grifters after money. That's all they're there for, not to benefit you or me, our families, our communities, nothing. Nix, nada, nothing. And why? Because they can. Once they're in power, they fill their grubby little mitts with as much money as they can fill in their trouser pockets before legging it and never returning. So let's get to reverse racism. Thank you, Stuart. Great as always, Adrian. Thank you. Well, thank you, Stuart, for your continued support. Wales. It's a country that I love. It's a country that I've lived in. It's a country that I broadcast in. And initially, the South Walians wanted to hang me from a lamppost. And then they kind of got where I'm coming from. And they loved me as I loved them. But Wales wants to be an anti-racist country by 2030. Better get your skates on. Except they only want ethnic minority teachers in Wales. How does that work? Well, it works like this. They're going to pay £5,000 more than white colleagues. Oh, I can feel the lawsuits flying left, right and centre, because when a barrister and a solicitor finds out that they can make money, fuck you, they're not interested in whether it's right or wrong. They're just interested in the money. The money. Show me the Benjamins. The legal profession, it's full of shysters. Love using your money. They love trying to sort stuff with your money, but they don't care whether you win and they don't care whether you lose so long as you keep paying their bill. Fucking grifters. Legal grifters, though. So now we've got people that are going to be paid £5,000 more than their white colleagues. So let me have a think there. South Walians, have they had their brains sucked out through their nose? Because that's discrimination. Doesn't matter which way you slice it. You're discriminating against the indigenous population of this island, Treasure Island. Had a win, shite, man. Go and foxtrot Oscar. You caring, understanding 90s types. I remember when I was in South Wales and broadcasting, who was the First Minister then? Rhodri Morgan. Is he alive or is he dead now? Rhodri Morgan. I'm talking 20 years ago. And I knew what they were going to do. They decided to smarten him up because he looked like Wurzel Gummidge. They decided to smarten him up. And they'd obviously worked out when the general election was going to be. So they wanted him gone, quiet, not have any public profile, about 4 weeks before the general election. So me, being a bit of a wind-up merchant, every night I went on air and says, where's Rhodri Morgan? He's disappeared. Have aliens abducted Rhodri Morgan? And I got a word, Adrian, stop it. Stop what? You know what you're doing. Stop it. Stop what? Look, I'm getting fucking heat, man. Will you stop it? Stop having a go at Rhodri Morgan. I said, I'm not having a go at him. He's being abducted by aliens. I just want the Welsh First Minister to be safe, and I just want the Welsh Labour Party to make sure that they're supporting him if, you know, he's been abducted by aliens and they've done tests on him and found he hasn't got a brain. And my boss was like, you're a fucking liability, Adrian. Is that a technical term? Hello, Simo. Is that a technical term? So for the 4 weeks leading up to the general election, every night I went on air and absolutely lambasted Rhodri Morgan. They weren't happy with me, but it turns out. But now we've got Wales. I mean, if you've never been to the Gower or out west in South Wales, beyond Swansea, it's breathtaking. It's what, I mean, you don't need to go to New Zealand to see some breathtaking vistas or scenery. Just get yourself past the Gower in South Wales. Just absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you get to paddle in the Irish Sea, and I love Wales dearly, but I'm not liking this. So they're going to discriminate. Ethnic minorities are going to be given £5,000 more than their white colleagues. No, I can see the lawsuits flying from here. The NHS are prioritising black and ethnic minorities for jobs over white people. Had a weird shite, man. What are you doing? These are politicians making these decisions. The wokerati. Oh, yeah, what we'll do is we need to get more people into the NHS and we need to get more people into teaching. So we'll discriminate against the indigenous populations. We'll give them more money than the whites. It's breathtaking. It's discriminatory and it's racist. And now they're saying a police force, I'm not going to identify them or name them, a police force is prioritising recruits that might not speak English. A bit like me tonight. So a police force is prioritising recruits that doesn't speak English in a land that's English speaking for people that are English speaking. You know where the NHS and the police forces and other public bodies have to spend a shit ton of money, and I'm not talking the odd 50p, I'm talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions. They've got to pay that for translators. Police forces, if you're in the cell and you can't speak English or your native tongue is not, then this is racism. But technically, it's reverse racism. It's racism against the whites. It's a reverse. Oh, I should have that fucking idiot from Scotland. Lawyers, white. First Minister, white. Yeah, you soon got your family out of Gaza, though, didn't you? You duplicitous arse. They're not interested, man. They'll just talk shite. So now we've got teachers discriminated against. Racist. NHS, discriminating against whites. Racist. We've now got a police force prioritising recruits that might not speak English. That's racist. Well, technically xenophobic, but could be deemed racist. I'm waiting for some lively lawyer or solicitor or barrister going, oh, bugger me, there's money there. I think we'll start suing the state. But I don't know whether it's moral indignation for the sake of moral indignation, so that it winds people up like me and you. Look, I don't care what people do. I just want to earn an honest penny for an honest day's work. I want to see other people not being given priority because of my skin tone. It's bad enough the BBC deciding that because I'm a man, they wouldn't hire me because they want women on air. And look at how shit their listening figures are. You go to a BBC radio station and I'll show you some shit broadcasting. In fact, not shit broadcasting. It's not worthy of being called broadcasting. I can tell you. And why can I tell you? Because I've been doing this gig for 40 years. I know my trade. I ply my trade. And I've studied it for 40 years. And then some one-legged, soft shoe shuffling, tap dancing lesbian gets the mid-morning gig on a BBC station because, well, she's a woman. That's sexism. The BBC are guilty of it on numerous occasions. Have you not noticed? I mean, I watched what was going on the VE Day week celebrations, commemorations. All the women on the BBC. And then it'll get worse. Why will it get worse? Because Hugh Edwards was shagging boys. Teenage boys, seemingly. Or wanting pictures of them, certainly. And knocking one out while he was looking at the pictures. Ah, you grubby bastard. So there's Wales. Racist. I was going to ask you about the best intro for a song, but I think we'll save that for Wednesday. Because this afternoon, while I was doing my research and doing my get stuff together, I listened to Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, the album version. And the album version has just an insanely awesome piano intro. I mean, I know it's an 8-minute song, and it's just, just get me cans on, get it turned up full so I'm not disturbing anybody else, and just play that fucking song. I mean, I wanted to go take on Keir Starmer and the government and go over to Kiev and go, oi, you bunch of bastards, you thieving bastards, give us our money back. $3 billion a year. There's pensioners I know could do well with that. And then I thought, do you know, Paulie Galtieri, great song, Money for Nothing. Stuart says, can we do a quiz soon, Adrian? We are. I think it's Sunday the 28th, the bank holiday weekend. I just thought, because unless something else comes up and we want to kick off about it, then Andrew James, running what? Running W. What's that? Dogs are racist in Wales. Oh, Running with the Devil, Van Halen. There's a tune, Andrew James. So what's the best intro of a song? I named 3. So like I couldn't name a single Led Zeppelin song, because some of their songs are the intros are just amazing. I mean, Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell, the album version is almost, the intro was almost 2 minutes of perfection. I'm going to be after what you said, you're wrong. Apart from that, it's a beautiful country. I agree. Pwy'wch tad nawr te. Oh, Beata! Pwy'wch tad nawr te. You know what that means, don't you? Arseholes to all Englishmen. Oh, the Welsh won't tell you that. Pwy'wch tad nawr te. Oh, hang on, is that Who's Your Daddy Now? No, that's it. So, Beata, you're utter wrong'un. You must have heard me say that on air. Yeah, wrong. Pwy'wch tad nawr te is Who's Your Daddy Now then? Long story. But if you hear a Welsh man or woman say, Tull Dane Bob Sice, Beatta's probably laughing now. It means arseholes to all Englishmen. Touchdown Bob size. Yeah, Marley's got it spot on. We can kick off and then we do the quiz. Alensky, Gene Psychic. So one of my nominations for the best intro song of all time would be Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell, the album version. And then I thought, oh, there's a load of like Led Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love. Oh, God. Oof. Just power. And then I thought, do you know, for like smooth radio-ish vibe, I thought about, can you remember Christopher Cross, Sailing? It's just got that. And Christopher Cross is still touring, still making music, but those Sailing by Christopher Cross is a thing of such outstanding natural beauty. Honestly, if you've never heard it before, get yourself to one of the streaming services, Christopher Cross, Sailing, and listen to the intro. And my third nomination would have been Van Morrison. That's because somebody said Van Halen earlier. Van Morrison, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? The piano intro to that song is literally, it's like one of those hugs you get. And maybe I'm waxing lyrical about it, and maybe you think, oh, shite, Adrian, man. But Van Morrison, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? And when I was working on LBC, the guy that actually played that piano intro called into the show and said, oh, yeah, we're just mucking about. It's like, behave, you can't muck about with that. It's perfection, man. Les Griffiths. Let's do one about British achievement. Cool, we could do a quiz for weeks on that. Rich, there are a handful of good programs, but they are few and far between. They're getting less and less and less. And a lot of the techniques, radio techniques, presentation techniques that me and my contemporaries would have used have long gone. These people don't know how to present radio shows. They don't know the technique. And somehow I want to pass my knowledge on to other people's. Maybe it's going to be podcasters now. Les Griffiths. Yeah, Rich, Stairway to Heaven, obviously Led Zeppelin. I went with A Whole Lot of Love because it just has a bit more impact at the beginning. But of course, Stairway to Heaven, beautiful. I'm off to loads of them. Terry, bugger off, man. Des Ashton, Roger Whittaker, The Last Farewell. Oh, wow. Oh, Roger Whittaker was such a whistler. Gene Psychic, never mind. Oh, sorry, Buck. Les Griffiths, Love Me Do. Beatles. Oh, nothing better than a Beatles song. Freddie Mercury, I Want to Break Free. I know. Yeah. A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers. Tom Harney's. Mike. Oh, is that My Girl Temptations? Is it My Girl Temptations? Andy Spittle says, My Generation, The Who. Love that intro. I was going to talk about the Who tonight, simply because one day they're sacking Zach Starkey, and then 3 days later he's back in the band, and then Roger Daltrey's doing a solo tour, and he's not going to sing with the Who anymore, and then Pete Townsend is like, no, we're not going to tour anymore, and then he's back in the paper, and I'm thinking, what are they up to, these boys? What are they up to? They're up to something. So maybe they're going to do one last tour, make tens of millions each. Hang on, Andrew James says to Terry Wookford, I bet you're banned in every record shop in the UK. Only the record shops. Four Tops. Was that My Girl? Oh, beautiful song, Ray Norton. Ms. Grace, The Times. That is a proper song. Terry Wookford says Stairway to Heaven was a movie starring David Niven. It was also titled A Matter of Life and Death. Ooh. Yeah, Alan says, Pete Townsend, just for research, Your Honour. Oh, so you paid for the worst kind of kiddie porn, abuse porn, with your credit card. Oh, yeah, it was writing me biography, so I was just doing research. Still hasn't published a fucking book. The Chain, Fleetwood Mac, what a tune. That is Disaster Area. I loved The Who, but after the Townsend scandal, can't watch them anymore. I'm with you, Les, with you. Won't Get Fooled Again, what a tune. Gene Psychic says, oh my God, how bizarre. Because your comments go so quickly, it's probably 3 minutes behind what I've just said. Phil Levant, Pete Townsend is doing book research. Everybody's on the case. Everybody knows. As does Phil Levant, Andy Turner getting back into vinyl, just expensive. I know, Andy. I mean, I'm hearing that sometimes you've got to pay like 70 or 80 quid for a vinyl album. Money grabbing bastards, those record companies. At least Dick Turpin wore a mask. I mean, I've got a copy of an album that shall remain nameless, and I bought it for $4.59, I think it was, or $4.99. And even then, $4.99, oh, you're taking me eyes out. Now, that same piece of vinyl, you would pay 200 quid for. But it's my record collection, so I'm not going to get rid of it. Marley Grassi says, saw a movie, black and white. I remember a bloke walking upstairs to heaven. Always wonder what it was. Interesting, Marley. Nothing else matters. What an intro. Yeah, tune. Heard someone called the Israel Madonna first time last night. She was quite good. Ooh, check her out, Gene. Behind Blue Eyes is my fave. Who was that by? Les Griffiths. Adrian, I've got a rare James Taylor album on vinyl. It's worth over 400 quid. Ooh, you're into your jazz, are you, Paulie? Your kind of acid jazz stuff? Wonderful. James Taylor made some great songs. I did play some on my Zetland FM show last night. I played Incognito, bit of Jocelyn Brown. Love James Taylor. Love bit of acid jazz. Andrew James says, Pete's autobiography is out, but it's very dull to read. Most of the time it's talking about drugs and affairs. Bless him. Two-dimensional then. Stones, Can't You Hear Me Knocking opening. Ooh. The U-Bovril votes for the Sgt. Pepper Beatles album. Yeah. I mean, we look back from the position we're in now with King Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. I mean, I want no harm to come to them. I wish them long life and good health. But fuck me, their music is shite. I mean, I saw a story, or I know a story, of like the Pet Shop Boys. The Pet Shop Boys wanted to do a song, What Did I Do to Deserve This, with Dusty Springfield. And Dusty was like, no, you're fine, lads. Not really heard any of your music, not aware of you. No. But they kept talking. And eventually she's like, oh, all right then. And you've got people like Dusty Springfield that the kids have never heard of. What a voice Dusty Springfield had. I mean, it was... I mean, I know you might take the mickey, but Burt Bacharach loved Cilla Black. Alfie, what a tune that is. And Dusty Springfield. And you go through some of the monstrously talented people from the 70s and the 80s, and we kind of start to lose our way. I know that Oasis are touring this year through the Manchester at the back of the 80s. But in 2025, I'm like, people are saying, oh, why don't you listen to her and listen to them and listen to this? And I just think I can pick a better artist from the 60s, the 70s or the 80s that would literally wipe the floor with some of these artists today. And I'm sure the record companies they're still taking the eyes out of the artist. But the streaming services, you've got, like I looked at Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, it's been streamed 1 billion times. We won't get on to the P. Diddy, because I'm going to do that during the week, but the P. Diddy trial started, and fan my brow, Prince Harry's there. He went to a P. Diddy party, and fan my brow, David and Victoria Beckham went to a P. Diddy party, and fan my brow, some music people like John Legend and Alicia Keys went to a Diddy party. Oh my word, who were they shagging? Because Diddy loved to shag, and he loved to watch. That's all good. I'm telling you. You literally will have to have a shower. After I've reported about the Diddy trials, you'll need a shower. It's so filthy and grubby. Sam Cooke, brilliant singer. Loved his voice, Les. Genuinely. Deborah Hart, best music, 60s, 70s and 80s. Mark Armand and Gene Pitney. Mark Armand's voice. I mean, Gene Pitney's was very much an acquired taste. 24 Hours from Tulsa. But Mark Armand, what a voice that boy's got. In fact, why don't I try and get Mark Armand on the channel and interview him? Because I was around on the radio. I was playing his songs. And I've got like white label stuff of his solo stuff. I mean, you've heard the rumour about the pint of white stuff, haven't you? should ask him the question. I mean, I'm sure he's been asked loads, but that's the kind of artist I want to get onto an interview, because the channel, comparatively to those that have got like 1 million subscribers, it appears that you need subscribers to impress people that you want to interview on your channel, as where very talented people, and I've already pre-recorded a couple of interviews where they don't care about subscriptions. They just want to have a really good interview. So maybe Wednesday I ask you for people that you'd like me to interview. Les Griffiths, Adrian, I wish I could give you info on H at the Diddy party. Les, there is an email address if you have facility to email. If not, we'll work something out. Because as I've said on these lives previously, and I'm going to round it up in a couple of minutes, is that when it comes to the royal family, H would make Andrew look like an amateur. I'm not going to elucidate. I'm not going to give you any more information than that. But I know stuff that I absolutely, categorically cannot bring to this channel. I know I can't. But Andrew, Randy Andy, amateur. There is absolutely no truth in the rumour about Mark Armand being stomach pumped, and that's the one I was asking about, the pint of. Rich says that would be a great show. Marley Grassi would love that. He did Hoot Nanny this year, I think. I mean, his voice is, you know, there's a lot of, I feel really sorry for people with talent, with musical talent, whether it be songwriting or producing or just singing or playing an instrument. I feel really sorry for them nowadays, because they're not going to get picked up. And if they're doing good numbers on social media and they're doing great live numbers, then the record company want a bit of that. Back in the day when they were touring, it was loss leading so that people would buy the album. Now, the tour is making a shit ton of money. They're not really making any money from vinyl or recorded music. But Mark Armand, my God, what a voice. And a bit like Mark Armand, Michael McDonald, what a voice. There are some people that literally, they just open their gobs and magic happens. And Mark Armand is one of those. Do you know, I'm going to make a note. I'm going to try and contact him through his management tomorrow. And he was, I think it was a Leeds nightclub. And where him and, was it Dave Ball, the keyboardist in Soft Cell? Mark Armand was the cloak attendant in this nightclub, and the DJ played Gloria Jones, Tainted Love, because the Soft Cell cover was a cover version. Gloria Jones did the original, and Mark Armand heard this song, Tainted Love, that the DJ was playing in the nightclub. Next thing you know, Dave Ball and Mark Armand, Tainted Love on Top of the Pops. And people were going, oh, it's amazing, it's wonderful, it's... let's see if I can get Mark Armand on, because it'll be fabulous. Be a fabulous, fabulous interview. Buck says, Robin Gibb, he's not around anymore. You're wrong, and how can I interview him? Only 106 likes on my phone is just a serious prat, as always. 144. See if we can get to 200 before we finish. All I'm asking is for you to smash the likes. It's better than smashing the back doors in at number 10. Burlington Bertie, who's fronting them? Harry and William, the royal family. Phil Levan, can we tell Amish jokes? Of course we can. Because they didn't take the jibber jabber. They didn't trust Big Pharma. Don't be silly. Adrian, what's the email address? Les, I'll say it slowly. It is all one word, lowercase. Jousting Arena. All one word, lowercase. Jousting Arena at gmail.com. It will be Sandra, stop it, you wrong. Deborah Hart, never liked Cliff. No, I'm not going to get myself into trouble. It was bad enough the BBC. Adrian roasting Kitty. That would be an interview. Oh, Paulie, can you imagine? I've told you the story. There's a video on here. My lived experience. And bizarrely, for some unknown reason, loads of people watch it. I made it like 2 years ago or something. But people still watch it. I still get email responses. Andrew Strong, the vocalist from The Commitments. What a voice. Oh, Des. Absolutely, categorically. I know they did The Commitments 2, and it wasn't as much as Commitments 1, but that boy, what chops he's got. I mean, I love, it's like Anita Baker, Bobby Womack. Teddy Pendergrass is one of my favourites, but Anita Baker, so I typed something on X, about 6 months ago, and she replied. Anita Baker, one of my female vocal heroes, replied, and I was like, holy Jesus. Oh, well, I'm done now. I don't need to be on X anymore. Anita Baker's replied. I did an interview with a Philly international artist from the early days called Phyllis Hyman. What a voice that woman had. Sadly, she committed suicide, but what a voice. And maybe I prefer females to males, but if I listen to like Meatloaf earlier, or Led Zeppelin, I mean, Robert Plant's voice, it's otherworldly in some songs. So that's kind of where I'd like to go. I want to do interviews, and lots of different kinds of interviews. I want to do more kind of Rogan-esque interviews with lovely bits of information that you might not have heard anywhere else from these stars. And Rich, love TKO, Teddy's best song. Yeah. And the best lyrics from any song, Close the Door by Teddy Pendergrass. Close the door. Let me give you what you've been waiting for. I mean, I couldn't make that up. It rhymed beautifully, but it's like Teddy singing it. Come here, woman. Let me give you what you've been waiting for. Oh, proper manly. Met Annie Lennox loads of times. Met her when I lived in Mallorca. Asked me to be up. Really, Deborah? Now, there is stuff that I know about Annie that I just can't bring here. But if Annie Lennox asked you to be her backing singer, then you must have some chops on you. You must do, because Annie's vocal is so pure. And there was a great film and or book, 8 Feet from Stardom or something, about backing singers, backing some of the great artists. Terry Wookfit, get Elvis on for an interview. I will do, Terry. He's called Pastor Bob Joyce, because Elvis didn't die. All right, Terry, I'll leave you with that rabbit hole. Pastor Bob Joyce, Elvis still alive. He's driving the number 42 bus in Wigan. Burlington Bertie, Phyllis Hyman did a voice break. Burlington Bertie, you mucky tart. Annie got out of the Matrix. I know, Deborah. She's living when I was living in Edinburgh, she's still in Scotland, living in Edinburgh, I think. And she was Dave Stewart, her paramour of some time. He's a boy from Sunderland. So, we Sunderland boys might be in with a chance. From the chat, I've just lost my ass off. What? Wes Streeting is going to rethink cancer treatment, calling it Cancer 360, which means the game round in a complete circle. Look, don't get me started. No, I won't. I've lost. When I know stuff, it's a case of, do I just go in where angels fear to tread and take on big business and big pharma? Or do I stay quiet and respectful around, my mum went with cancer, my hero, who was a better father to me than my father, he went with cancer recently, and we've got cancer in the family currently. So it's not, I feel torn. I do feel torn. And that's why you can't buy soursop in this country. You can't buy soursop leaves. You can't buy the original soursop plant because it cures cancer. They don't want you to get a cure. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world on the 7 seas. The Tourists only want to be with you. That was a great song by the Tourists. But Sweet Love, Karina Jane. Or if you want, yes, Anita Baker's Sweet Love. But I'll tell you this little story, and then I'll round things off for tonight. So I was presenting a soul show on Radio Tees, as it was then, across Teesside into North Yorkshire, up to Newcastle. Huge catchment area. The bit from sort of Peterlee up to Newcastle wasn't supposed to be part of the catchment area, but you could pick it up. I was broadcasting on both AM and FM. And Warner Brothers sent me a bunch of albums through, and I was listening to some of the albums, and I was like, they're not inspiring me. And I got this album, Sweet Love, with Anita Baker in a black dress on the front. And I thought, do I listen to this? It's probably just going to be one of those, another black singer who's kind of another black singer. Because I used to get tons of them. I'd get like 30 and 40 albums a week from record companies. I put Sweet Love on, and I didn't stop. I literally, everything that I was, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, the hairs on my arms stood up. I was listening to this voice that was so beautiful and smooth and sweet, and I couldn't find the words to say what I was feeling, because it was something that I hadn't felt before. I was in a Comprod studio. Thank you, Rich. Oh, bless you, a bonus. Thank you, Rich. And the music that was coming out of these massive big Wharfdale, I mean, you could whack it up and it would make the whole building vibrate. And I was listening to this voice come through these speakers as sweet and as pure as any female vocalist I'd ever heard in my life. So I just let the album play, thinking, what on earth is this? And then I flipped it over, and it was exactly the same on the other side of the album. And I've got 3 vinyl copies because I don't want it ever to wear out. Because Anita Baker's voice is very special. It even thinking about it, I can hear it in my head. But that night before I went on air, and I only had 1 copy, so realistically, I could only pay 1 song, and then I couldn't wait for the next song to start because it's radio. But Toya Wilcox, when she's doing these live gigs currently, for all she's a myth to me, her and her old boy, fantastic. Who knew that she could sing like that? Deborah, I'm known for singing Amy Winehouse as well. Feel she disappeared, wrong people behind her. I know, Deborah, the music industry is an awful, corrupt place. And I think a lot of people get out of the music industry because it's not, once you start lifting the veil and you start hearing the stories, people get out. They just get out. Sometimes not with their sanity, because the best way to be a manager of a band is just get them hooked on drugs. If they're making millions and millions, just get them hooked on drugs and then just take their money, because that's happened many, many, many times. So Andy Turner says Eddie Reader was a backing singer for the Eurythmics. Yes, she was. And Eddie Reader also did I Saw U2 and the Police at Gateshead Stadium, and Eddie Reader was who sang A Man in a Uniform? She was doing backing vocals for this. I can't remember the band, but that was the first time I'd seen her and heard her, and you were like, bloody hell, what a voice! But Eddie's voice is very different to Anita's and to Phyllis Hyman's. There's a tonality, or a timbre, if you wish, about a voice that for some, yours will be different to mine because my likes and my filters and sometimes somebody played me a singer the other day, and I just said, fuck me, that's offensive. And they said, what do you mean it's offensive? I said, that's shite. And she's like, well, I thought that they were a really good singer. I said, look, for today's generation who are hooked on Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran, then maybe. But I could play you a dozen singers that could knock that into a cocked hat. I said, it's offensive to my ears. And when I go, I'm a real grumpy old tart at parties and stuff, because it's a busman's holiday for me as a DJ, as a whatever you want to call it. And I can hear things. And if it doesn't envelop my hearing and give me a joyous experience, it's fucking offensive. And there's loads of those going around. I mean, I've heard singers singing flat. I mean, if you look at Bette Midler and is it The Rose? No, Wind Beneath My Wings. Right near the end, she goes for a note, and I don't know why they kept it in the song, but it was flat. And I'm like, what the bloody hell's that? But people love the song, The Wind Beneath My Wings, and all it stands for, and the lyrics and the music and everything. And I just hear, oh, bloody hell, it's offensive. Pop Shite, Amalia Grassi, yeah. Judy Sook, Stay With Me Till Dawn. Tom Harney's. What a tune that is. I played that on my hospital radio show back in the 70s. Bless. Judy Sook, Stay With Me Till Dawn is a song of such outstanding natural beauty. I could sit here and talk music for the rest of the night. You know that. Hang on, Des. Toya at Howden Civic Hall. Acoustic gig. It was just brilliant. And she signed and did a pic with Susie. Oh, wonderful. I mean, she's... Amalia, hearing that too. Stuart, I noticed that too. What, Wind Beneath My Wings? Oh, turn that. Get off. I mean, they don't play it on the radio anymore because the radio stations I was head of music for, off. It's offensive. But it's, everyone has their styling, has their... Gang of Four. Terry Wookford, you legend. Gang of Four. Eddie Reader was doing background vocals for Gang of Four at the Police, U2, The Beat. Gang of Four, who else was on there? Oh, Lords of the New Church. They American and as mad as a box of frogs. They were just, and they weren't to my taste. You know what I'm going to say? They were shite. And I mean, hopefully we haven't got any of their fans on the live tonight. But Alana Miles, yeah, she made millions from music. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Go West signed my wife's LP on our honeymoon. Wonderful, Andrew. Did I? Yes, I did. They came into Radio Tees, and I met them an age ago. I did have the tape of the interview that I did. It was only a quick 8 minutes. It was just like in new single, Baba. But We Close Our Eyes was just, can you remember Max Headroom? We Close Our Eyes by Go West was one of the regular videos that Max Headroom used to play on his show. And it was Monkey Wrench, and the lead singer was in, his name I can't remember, in a singlet vest. What a tune that is. What, I mean, and it was just almost throwaway pop, but they're still touring and still making money, bless them. Peter Cox has some pipes, definitely. Thank you, Sierra Alpha Alpha. Bravo. Peter Cox, boy, can proper sing. Because there's a difference between live singing and studio recording. Live, you can kind of get to a note and be a bit fuzzy. You can make your voice as an instrument do different things live. But in the studio, it has to be pure. It has to be absolutely bob on. No, where was I listening? I was at a wedding recently, and the band were playing, and I said to the new Mrs. Allen, fuck me, that singer's a bit pitchy. And she went, what? I said, she's a bit flat and sharp. She's a bit pitchy. Oh, what does that mean? And I'm like, I'm living with Luddites. But for me, somebody who's a bit pitchy shouldn't be on the stage. There are other much more talented artists out there, but maybe they don't want to do the work. But, who's that, Lionel Layton, unrehearsed? You would love Jonathan and Arlene Edwards. Andy, bugger off. Terry Wookford, Dana, all kinds of everything. I'm sure that keeps you... that gives you great comfort, Terry Wookford, in the darkness of the evening, under your blankets, your tart. Amalia Grassi. Is that Cornell or Comel had the purest voice live? Mind-blowing. Oh, Karina Jane. Now you've distracted me. I've interviewed and met Will Downing a couple of times, and he was part of Wally Jump Jr. and the Criminal Element. And then he went off and did A Love Supreme. And I had him in TFM, as it was, and we talked about Love Supreme. It's one of, because he went to Love Supreme was originally done by the jazz artist whose name I can't remember because I'm tired now. But he went to, who did A Love Supreme originally? No, Alexia's not. Alexa, are you on? Fabulous. You'd be quiet for a week then. I Love Supreme. So Will went to his wife, the originator of the song, went to his wife and said, look, this is what I'm planning. I want to take the music. I want to update it a little. And I've got these John Coltrane. Thank you, Tom. So Will Downing went to John Coltrane's wife and said, I want to do this song. And what it's going to be is I'm going to take John's original musicality, update it a little, and then I'm going to add some lyrics. And the first time I heard it, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. It was like, whoa, what is this? Who is this, more importantly? And Will Downing was in the interviews. He came and did some live stuff that we did together in the Northeast. Lovely, 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 lovely man. And this is, we're talking nearly 50, 40 odd years later, getting close to 50 years later. Was it 88, 87 when he was with Wally Jump Jr.? So we're talking 40 years since I last first interviewed him. And I will only speak as I can find. If I've had a really good time with someone, then if you know what I mean, unlike a number 10, really good time, I will say so. Unlike Meatloaf, he and I nearly got into a fight. I mean, I wish I had, really, just to kind of see how good he was at scrapping. He was just a big old tart. But talented as a singer. And as I've said, my three best intros would have been Van Morrison, Christopher Cross, and Meatloaf's intro to the album version of Bat Out of Hell. It's just, oh, dear Lord, it just grabs your emotion. The cause, though, I'm in love with Andrea. She is going to be my next wife. She doesn't know it yet, but as soon as the basement is ready, she will be. Bless you. Should go to Belgium, Terry. Pig Bag. Papa's got a brand new Pig Bag, the cover of the James Brown original. And I know Middlesbrough used that for their team to go onto the pitch, I think. But Pig Bag, Papa's got a brand new Pig Bag. Oh, I remember playing that in the clubs and people going mad for it. Could have played it all night. Right, you're on a Pig Bag. Papa's got a brand new Pig Bag. Thank you, Andy. And with that, we'll sort of round it off. I think I'm 2.5 hours, maybe. I'm not sure. But either way, we'll do another live on Wednesday, of course. I've got stuff that I want to do from today, tomorrow. So it's going to be an early start. But there's lots of stuff that I've been monitoring. And I kind of like to do live videos, but chop them down and just get more videos out. Because it is May. We're getting near to June. But where I want to go is I want to have multifaceted channel. I want to do interviews. I want to do these lives. They're a staple. I want to do other bits and pieces, social commentary, and other things. Because we've been going a couple of years now, so I've served my apprenticeship almost, and I think we can go and start to do other things. So thank you to everyone that's been with me on the live this evening. I always appreciate your thought. Not quite sure what you're saying there, Stuart. You'll have to email me. Sorry, I'm tired tonight now. Please, if you haven't already, it would mean a lot to me if you could smash the likes on your way out. Please make sure that the body of the Kirk is in some semblance of order. We've got a new Pope now. The Cardinal, His Eminence, hasn't come back from Rome yet. So if it's a mess, we're in doo-doo, deep doo-doo. And I wish you well. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this evening. But whatever you do, wherever you go, don't forget the Battenberg. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscriptions. My name's Adrian Allen. I'm off now. I'm tired, so I need to go and have another piece of Battenberg and a bit of hibiscus. Be well. I'll see you tomorrow. Au revoir, said a Frenchman once.